right, welcome on into the very first episode of the week of DCU Daily on Oh So Curious. We've got a lot for you today. It is a Monday, and Fiona is already in the chat fisting the like button. I mean, I'm sure she meant to say fist bumping the like button, but we've got you guys in the chat. You see Monique is also already here, figure drawing. Who says I'm not? All right, the chat is hot. The chat is hot. Well, we've got a lot to get into on the show. We're gonna glaze the hell out of Project Hail Mary, which I think is well deserved. So definitely stick around for that. We got to talk about the box office weekend, of course. Project Hail Mary again. Speaking of Project Hail Mary, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, we're talking about their other past and future adventures at the movies, specifically The Flash, Beyond the Spider-Verse, you know, that next Spider-Verse movie, the final of the trilogy. And of course they also mentioned a little bit about, you know, what other projects they'd like to do in the future. You know, everything today feels like it has a connection to Project Hail Mary. Of course we got Spider-Man, we've got Daredevil Born Again. There's a lot to get into. Of course we also have to talk about Supergirl, because we know a little bit more maybe about the budget of the movie, and we'll get into that. Honka Caleb. And to do that and so much more, of course, as always, we're gonna hit that news intro. Of course, Ryland Grace himself can get us started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, Mr. I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robin Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
Robin
You're
Downey.
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne. I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chords.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Okay, all right. Let's get into the show. We've got a lot of y'all already in the chat, and of course, like I said, we got a packed show. If you guys didn't already see Project Hail Mary over the weekend, what are you doing? Hit pause, go watch the movie, then come back, watch the show. But if you are already here, then you might as well stick around, because we've got Marvel news, we've got DC news, we even got some Star Wars news today, well, we got a bunch of trailers. We got to talk about The Rock and how, you know, what he looks like in the Moana live action movie. The Dutton Ranch also dropped a trailer. Starfleet Academy got canceled. Wonderman got renewed. And on that note, I'm going to introduce my co-host today. John, how are you doing? I think you're muted, but
I don't know how my fucking mic got muted, but I had a rough night, but outside of that, I'm doing okay. But I'm gonna use it down a little bit. But yeah, doing good right now. Kind of had a more of a leisure day. I did get some work done for my videos, but yeah, been a hell of a time today. Got a lot of news to get into, good, bad, and lots of ugly. So we'll see.
Lots of ugly. Well, before we get into that, I just want to say hello to Monique, who was first in the chat, telling us her Super Monday featuring a marinated air fryer chicken thighs. Wow. Steamed fingerling potatoes, finished with butter and herbs. Wow. I just, you know, like every time.
I will say the only time I would be
Project
okay
Hail
with
Mary.
doxing is doxing Monique, just so I can come to her house so she can cook for me.
Yeah. No,
That
you're not
sounds
wrong.
terrible, but
No, well,
no,
I
you're
mean,
making us.
maybe,
You're always making us jelly in the chat, Monique.
yeah. Maybe Monique can
Especially
just
when
tell
I can't
us.
fucking eat anything right now. I have to fucking settle for.
I mean, look, I had a rough bit of it over the weekend too, and you know, so I took it easy for a couple of days. But today I went to the movies, so you gotta have a hot dog, you gotta have some chicken tendies, you gotta have. I had some peanut butter M&Ms, lots of soda. So you know, I'm completely off the rails today. But Yeah, figure drawing. Wonderman renewed, brand new day hype. We're gonna get into all of that. Doomsday super hype incoming. I actually have to save some of that for tomorrow because there's so much to talk about as is. The MCU is rolling. Hello, Fiona, and John is going to turn into an MCU fan if he gives them a chance. Well, John is gonna give some of them a chance, like he said in the chat. Honka honka,
I
Caleb.
mean, I've said that, like, as
You're
a
not wrong.
Spider-Man fan, I'm
figure drawing.
excited because literally all three
Yes.
projects this year,
We're
I'm
eating
stoked
good.
for, and I'm gonna be watching them day one. So, you know.
Dude, nobody's even talking about. Speaking of which, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which the lower profile of the projects, but that's still also on the calendar, and I know you're excited about it.
Well, yeah, it's one of the things I'm talking about. Is
yeah.
because I mean, Spider-Verse isn't happening until
Hey, Kate.
next year, but in terms of stuff
Yeah.
this year, we got three
Yeah.
really good projects that, or at least hope
Yeah.
to be good projects. So
Yep. We got Kate in the chat. She also loves the movies. Kenan, that intro is iconic to the show. Ryan getting an Oscar over Timmy. Oh, you know what? I would totally love it if Ryan Gosling got an Oscar. It would be his second nomination after being nominated for Ken. If he gets nominated for
no, it would be
Ryland
his
Grace.
third. It would be his
Oh.
third. He got
was
nominated for Half Nelson back in like 2004 or 5, I think.
Wow. A young Ryan Gosling. Wow, that's like 22 years ago.
I
Dude,
think
Caleb,
around,
we'll be
like,
reminding
mid to
you of
late
it later.
2000s. I forget the exact
Yeah.
year, but
Yeah.
might have been like 2007 or something like that. But he did get, but Ken was actually the second nomination. I hope he at least gets nominated for Project Hail Mary. I don't think he'll win. I think Dune Messiah is probably going to clean up this year because of.
Dude, you're forgetting about the Odyssey. The Odyssey is gonna clean up next year.
Here's the thing is Nolan has his Oscars. Dune hasn't. So here's the thing. I think it's gonna be like a Return of the King kind of thing where they only for the first two movies they won a couple things and then Return of the King fucking cleaned up shop. So I think the same thing is gonna happen with Dune Messiah.
I don't know. I'm not convinced yet, but like Nolan hasn't gone head to head with Dune yet because Oppenheimer and Dune Part 2 did not come out the same year. And what did he do before then? They almost did, but they ended up not quite. And then the first Dune movie didn't go head to head against Tenet. So anyway, yeah, feel better, John. Hopefully you on the up and up.
I have juice. I'm good in my my winners cup.
Yes.
A cup for winners. So.
Caleb here with all his usual criticism.
Yeah, I saw a trailer for that like way back in August of last year. I'm like, oh, I want to see this when it comes out, but it like never came to theater, so I'm probably gonna head to watch it on streaming. So I think it's on HBO Max.
Nice. Well, Movie Spud is here, saying Project Hail Mary was great. Don't you worry, Movie Spud. We got lots of Project Hail Mary talk on the show today. And you know what, Caleb? We will definitely be talking about the award season. I mean, as the year goes on, we're eating good this year, which will be a part of the quick hits as far as sci-fi fantasy movies go. But we will kick things off with something of a somber note, because earlier today we learned that Valerie Perrine passed away at the age of 82. Of course, she was, known to a lot of people from, the 1978 Superman movie. She played the original, what's the Miss Tessmacher, the girlfriend, love interest, assistant to Lex Luthor, assistant. Of course, the role was brought back for the 2025 Superman movie, where it was played by, remind me of her again, Sarah Sampaio. But yeah, I mean, Lenny was another big one for her. She was an Oscar-nominated actress, Slaughterhouse-5. John, how do you remember Valerie Perrine? Of course, Superman, to me, is the big touch point.
Superman is the big one. Unfortunately, I wasn't really familiar with a lot of her other projects, but I remember she did retire like some time ago. I think she retired back in the 2000s, so she hadn't been in anything for a while. But it's always sad to see. Like we've been kind of dealing with a lot of celebrity deaths, so even one that's maybe not huge.
Well, it's still significant because she had friends, family, and a lot of people who admired her work who will miss her, but like we can hopefully remember her with the work that we can still like go back and watch like the 78 Superman movie again and be like, oh look, she's in there. So her legacy lives on. The original Miss Tessmacher from the movie Spot has passed away. Speaking of which, actually, I saw a lot of the accounts in the DC fandom across social media. If you go to the next link, they've been sort of sharing, some of her more iconic career moments. There you go, Miss Tessmacher. If you didn't know who she was, then this image might give you a reminder. Of course, Christopher Reeve there, Gene Hackman. She wasn't the biggest star in that movie, far from it, but she was certainly, an iconic part of it. And I think in the years that since the movies, those set of movies, the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, have now sort of been built upon, and we have kind of gone on to multiple different eras of DC. People still look back at the performances of a lot of those actors from back in that original series fondly, and as a template almost, not only at DC but also over at Marvel. Kevin Feige is a big fan, so Valerie Perrine's performance and her legacy lives on through that. In fact, James Gunn himself, John, put up a nice tribute to Valerie, saying rest in peace to the original Eve Tessmacher, Valerie Perrine, or Perrine. But yeah, we send our condolences, our best wishes to Valerie's friends and family in this time of mourning. Of course, it's never good to hear news like this. She was 82 at the time of passing. And with that, we're going to move on to the next part of the show. Let's get into the weekend box office, John. Of course, like I mentioned at the very top, it's a Project Hail Mary kind of day today, because the box office was dominated, rightfully so. Amaze. Project Hail Mary rockets to a galactic $80.6 million opening, which marks the year's biggest start. Also, a record opening for Amazon MGM. And yeah, they call it an Amazon original film, and then you get the OG MGM logo with the lion, but except you can't really hear the lion because of how the soundtrack is weaved into the start of the film. But then the space epic that Lord and Miller have brought us, their return to live action, with, of course, Ryan Gosling, who initially got the manuscript for this movie 6 years ago. Before the book was published, he got the manuscript, the unpublished book manuscript, and he was like, I want to do this movie. He signed on, they optioned it off, and then, they brought on Lord and Miller. They waited for Drew Goddard to free up to write the script, and of course, Andy Weir, the same writer as that of The Martian. John, this movie now becomes the only movie in the past 10 years that is, the only movies other than Oppenheimer, I should say, in the last 10 years, that is a non-sequel, non-franchise installment, a movie that is open to at least $80 million or more domestically. Of course, it didn't quite catch the Oppenheimer number. I believe Oppenheimer still opened to a few million dollars or more.
It was like 82.4, I think.
Yeah, and Fiona and I just went to see it again today. Fiona saw it for the first time. I saw it last Monday myself, and then we both went and saw it today. And you know what? I haven't had that feel. We're going to glaze on here for a while, but I haven't had that sense of feeling since Barbie, where even after walking out the movie the second time, I was ready to go right back in and watch it a third time. I watched Barbie 4 times in a movie theater, so I have a feeling I'll be checking this one out again maybe this week even. So yeah, it could be a record year at the box office, certainly since the pandemic movie spud. Hello, M2G. Hope you had a fine weekend as well, of course. And rest in peace to Sam Keith as well. We didn't get a chance to talk about that earlier. Hail Mary was excellently done, M2G says. Saw it twice. Second best movie of the year for me, but definitely award worthy. So, John, I want to get your reaction to this. Of the $80.6 million, that's just a domestic number. When you add in, just right there in that first paragraph, the international number, the total that this movie has started off to is 141 million. It opened at number 1 in 60 of the 80 plus markets that it's opened in. This is clearly,
and they were saying for 70 million worldwide.
70. It's twice the number. Hello Nelson, just in time. John, you said this a couple of weeks ago, and I will remember it, and I'll always come back to it. This movie is the F1 for Amazon MGM. The one nuance I'll add to this, I actually got into the theater in time today to see some trailers before the movie started, and one of the trailers was Masters of the Universe. Apple had F1, but nothing to follow it. They don't have a movie that is theatrical, since F1, that's on the calendar for this year or for last year after F1 came out. Amazon MGM, now, this movie is doing so great. First, what do you think about this, epic opening weekend and for Amazon MGM Studios? And then the fact that they've got a follow-up, like Masters of the Universe. I mean, like it or
I
hate it,
think
that trailer looks pretty
what
cool.
I think, you know what I think is funny? I think I think that was a very smart move from Amazon, because just in case this big budget blockbuster ended up being a failure, it didn't hit right with audiences, it was wrong, blah blah blah. The big comeback of Lord and Miller sucked, whatever. Well, then they have an IP to help them out if this failed. So I think that's kind of saying something, where it's like, in case Project Hail Mary failed, then you know, boom, they have an IP. They have a safe IP that will guarantee them at least a decent to good lucrative,
I mean, this is March.
box office.
Like, this is March, John. Like, this is already. Remember, Oppenheimer opened against Barbie to that number, which was impressive, like 82 some odd million dollars, and it opened in the summer months. This is March for Project Hail Mary. It's the biggest. Not only is it the biggest opening for like any non-franchise, non-sequel, like, you know, franchise, like installment, but this is this now becomes the biggest opening weekend that Hollywood has had since the 89 some odd million dollar opening weekend that Avatar had in December. So we haven't seen a bigger opening weekend since. So yeah, I mean, not only is it the biggest of the year, it's the biggest since Avatar. It's obvious for a non-franchise movie, a non-sequel movie, it is the biggest. Well, you know, this the only time in the last 10 years, basically, you know, even before the pandemic, that goes back to 2016, that any movie like that has done at least 80 million. So that's big. And 140 million, 141 million worldwide. So that is impressive, because it means that while this movie is obviously cleaning house domestically with over 4,000 theaters in North America, it's getting almost as much play internationally as well, and all the 80 plus markets is coming out, and 60 of which it was a #1 in, which is impressive. I just wanted to kind of go over to the next slide for a second, John, because yes, your thoughts on just the experience theatrically. Do you think this for Amazon MGM maybe studios maybe changes their approach? Maybe like they now say, oh, maybe we need to do more of these. Maybe they ask Andy Weir, could you write us a book for a sequel? Like, where do you see things going next? Because, and also, do you think this movie's going to have legs at the box office? Because the reviews are out.
I think it's going to have more legs than Rocky. And that dude has like 6, you know?
I think you're right about that.
I would say I'm gonna be the weirdo in the room. I say, do the craziest possible thing you can do. Leave it be. Just leave it be. Leave it as a box office winner, box office like a critical and darling, maybe an award winner come next March, and then just leave it be. I know that's not in Amazon's way of thinking, because they're gonna squeeze this shit dry until the cow is skin and bones. But just for once, leave it be. Just let us enjoy this one little story, because not every fucking great story needs a motherfucking sequel. Just leave it be. Just leave it be. Like Avatar, just leave it be. No, Jim Cameron had to come back, give us 10 sequels that we didn't want to see, and nope. Just leave it be. It's okay.
By the way,
it's okay. It's okay. Shh. It's okay. It's okay.
Rocky's better than Grogu. You know what? In the moment right now, I have to say so, yeah. Even though I have Grogu in my closet. Not literally, that sounded weird. But, you know, I have a toy version of Grogu sitting around. It does stand well on its own. I love the character relationship so much. I personally would want to see if they make a sequel, I would love it. If they don't make a sequel, I'm perfectly fine. The only reason why I would love to see a sequel is because there's this saying that, you know, was passed upon me by several people in film school, which is, you know, it's I'm sure it's bounced around in the filmmaking community a lot. Is if you have an idea for a story and you have a really great story or a great plot, make it into a movie. Like, you're about to write a screenplay, make it a movie. And I agree with you for going, because I think it would make money. But if you have a great set of characters in your mind, like, if you were trying to come up with a story and you just come up with a great set of characters, you make it a TV show. Because with the TV show, like, the characters are what keep the audience, coming, stringing along. And that's stringing along, and not in a bad way, but like, for example, Psych I will always go back to that show, like Sean and Gus. I will literally watch Sean and Gus in everything. Like, anything and everything. Just give me, if they were to start doing, State Farm commercials randomly, I would totally watch that, because it's the chemistry and the iconic characters. And for those of you who don't know, it was a show on USA Network. If you are a fellow psycho like I am, then, you love your pineapples and you love your, Pluto references and whatnot. But anyway, so I think for me, Rylan, Grace, and Rocky are like the soul of the movie. Like, this movie doesn't really truly it's got a great setup, but it doesn't really pick up and start to sing to you until Rocky gets introduced, and then you get to that point where, like, I think it's about towards the end of the first act almost. And once that, and then, you get the montage, especially the part, to me, the still one of the best parts of the movie is when Rocky moves in. He's like, what is, like, Rocky C-Ship, like, like, the Rocky have room, like, Rocky's gonna have room here, a bedroom here, and it's like, what is this trash? It's like, it's just the fight. Then, you have that whole, like, he can see through things. It's like, it's like, can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Rocky can.
Yes,
Rocky
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. It's like, hey, Tony, and hello, Tony and Tony. How are you doing in the chat? We got Tonys all over. But yeah, I don't know. Like, this movie just makes it's such a breath of fresh air at a time, especially like this, dude. Like, we might be paying $4 for gas, and, like, who knows what's coming out and coming up in the next few
That's
months.
the dream.
I don't know.
$4, right?
Yeah.
Now, like...
I agree with you, Tony. Oh God, that show is so good. Go to Peacock and watch it if you have Peacock where you live. But,
I think it's also available on Amazon.
It is.
For free.
I used to watch it at Amazon. I actually have the box set, so I've got that too. I got my brother gifts
because here's the thing. What was funny? I watched this video that was recommended to me about Psych, because they were talking about shows that were like the Sherlock Holmes trope, and like how Psych did it really well. And I'm like, oh, this seems interesting. I started watching Monk for the same reason, and then I got tons and tons of Psych videos. It's like, oh, watch this. I'm like, all right, now I gotta watch this 2000s feel good show,
dude.
Like I did with Monk. I never finished it, but
yes,
good stuff.
God, USA Network was so goated back then, before the term goated meant what it does today.
Yeah, was it White Collar on USA Network too?
White Collar, dude, Burn Notice, White Collar, Psych, and then, of course, I never got into it myself, but a lot of people love Suits. That was all from that same era. Like, it was all USA Network.
I always got White Collar and Suits confused.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Like, even though it's like the shows are so different, it's just White Collar, Suit. I don't know. It's kind of similar
on the surface. Yeah. One is more of a crime, like, procedural with a more lighthearted tone to it, whereas the other one is very much like, well, they're both kind of lighthearted in nature, but like the other, anyway. But without getting too far away from the movie itself, Project Hail Mary, it's one of the best looking movies of the year. It's just really well done. And it's a visual spectacle too. Like, John, I saw, I think Cinema Encyclopedia posted, the experience, what it's like. I think it's probably from the Lincoln Square 70mm IMAX in New York City. That's the one. I think that you look at how these movies look different, brighter, better. I still haven't seen it in IMAX, like, of the 2 times I've seen it, or like Dolby. Like, I'm gonna try to go see it in one of those formats.
Although, to be fair, the last thing I want to see
is
Sean Penn with that fucking haircut in 70mm. So I don't know about that, but
yeah, well, he was the first man.
Somebody I know actually watched Project Hail Mary and Interstellar back to back today. I'm like, damn, okay, this dude's going, like, this dude's gonna reach like another state of being today.
Yeah, there's like some superficial similarities, but again, they're 2 very different movies. And both are great and epic in their own ways. In fact, I think they're both modern sci-fi classics in a sense. It's just
we gotta pump people up for the Christopher Nolan tier list tomorrow.
I agree, M2G. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna go so deep.
Spoiler alert: Dan is gonna put every movie in S tier. That's what it's gonna
actually. Probably not, but like we'll see. We'll see. Okay, Caleb, let's.
I mean, he's not
let's
wrong.
not go
Like
that far.
I thought Interstellar was good, but Project Hail Mary is so much better.
I mean, if you're talking about watchability, I can sit through Project Hail Mary more times in a day, but they're tonally different movies. It is sort of apples to oranges. And again, you don't need to make it a one is better than the other conversation. You can enjoy and love both like that friend of yours did. But again, I mean, speaking of Nolan comparisons, like we just mentioned, $80 million domestically to open at that number, that's the only time in the last 10 years that any movie other than Oppenheimer has done that. So that puts, Project Hail Mary in some very elite company. And speaking of the Oscars from earlier, Oppenheimer, won a ton of Oscars, including almost sweeping a lot of the big ones. So, and of course, best, picture and best director for Christopher Nolan, I think was well overdue. So, maybe Phil Lord, Christopher Miller might actually, be in the best director category next year. Yeah, I know there's some moments in this. There's some moments when it's a tearjerker, but again, I always like to say this is the kind of movie, like, it's not the kind of tearjerker like when, what was Matthew McConaughey's character's name in Interstellar?
Don't remember.
Somebody tell. Dude, space travel can be sad sometimes, but it's better than those dumb, like, horror movies in space that don't make no sense.
Okay. Don't besmirch Jason X, all right? That is Kino cinema. Get out of here with that, all right? Leprechaun 4 you can throw under the bridge, that's fine. But like don't besmirch Jason X
being in space.
Good
okay.
name, all right? Come on.
All right. Well, but like it's not you crying, like, like in Interstellar, the point I was trying to make is like you sit there and like he's watching like Murph, like, he's watching his kids grow up, and that kind of like emotion, this movie doesn't go that deep, but that just that friendship between the two characters, I think, is just, it's awe inspiring, and yeah, space can be very lonely at times, especially for both characters and the main characters in this movie.
I don't care what anybody says. Jason X is a fucking fun movie. Is it good? No, but it's fucking fun as shit.
Yeah. And you know what? We'll talk about the humor as well, because the humor in this movie, I think that's the soul of the film. I will say this, like I said it last Monday. It was very difficult to me and very difficult for me to imagine, and very obvious from the first 10-15 minutes of watching Ryan Gosling in this role, and especially when you get to the point when he's in space and you get to meet Rocky. I was like, there's really
a perfect way of putting it. Jason X is delicious garbage.
But I was like, watching Project Hail Mary, there's just really the way it's done, I can't imagine another actor doing what Ryan Gosling did. Because it's that whole, like, he's got that, like, whole beta male, like, vibe going. But then at the same time, his humor, his, comedic timing, his everyman relatability factor, it's just the way he plays the character. I find it very difficult to see anybody else can do what Ryan Gosling did with the movie. Maybe Chris Pratt, but even then it would be different, because and not in a bad way. I just think, like, it's just the way he does it is so uniquely a performance that only Ryan Gosling can give, which I think is also maybe why he should be, nominated for an Oscar.
Speaking of,
yes. You know what? Actually, I've got a special little. We're gonna call this segment "The Glaze," featuring Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, just 'cause,
yeah,
Dan is jerking off this movie so goddamn much. It's getting glaze all over its face.
It's sure. Well, it's kind of like what we did for Superman, right? So we just gotta, like, every time, I feel like we might as well call it The Glaze every once in a, because I'm sure it won't be the last time we'll be glazing a movie for an entire segment. So yeah, I mean, John, Ryan Gosling's friendship in Variety, they write, with The Rock in Project Hail Mary is the first Oscar-worthy performance of the year. Make an argument for me that that he should be nominated, and why? Like, why do you think he should?
Because there's a lot of small, subtle things that go into it that a lot of people don't notice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I noticed this I kind of noticed it on the first watch, and then on the second watch, I really noticed it. Like, bit of a spoiler, but when he was remembering when you have the final flashback and it's revealed that he was, a coward and drugged and forced to, do this entire journey. Like, you could see it ever so slightly. There's like this slight smirk on his face that, like, damn, how like just a small like way of showing not only to himself but to the audience about how far he's grown
Mm,
um as a character. Like, yeah, he's still like kind of weird and still maybe a bit of a coward. Like, he's still at the end of the day, he has changed. Like, this experience changed him. He grew. He got a get best friend of it. He traveled the stars. He saved Earth, all this stuff. So he's, and it's like that's like the things that like great actors put into their performance, or great directors have actors put into their performance, that make it more depth filled than there's many of that in this movie, but that's the one that really stuck with me and I really remembered, and it
mm.
really worked. And the thing is, there's also the idea of like he's acting so well against a fucking puppet. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's like
really
Tom
hard to
Hanks
do.
in Castaway, except in space with an alien rock, right? Like, it's come on.
Yeah, it's just like
Like, it's
but it's helpful that he
yeah.
actually had something to act against, which instead of like a fucking
We
tennis
talked about a
ball
lot.
on a
Yeah,
string
yeah.
or whatever, like he actually had like a real puppet there, like, and a real actual puppeteer. Fist my bump.
I'll fish your bump anytime, Fiona. Anytime. Anywhere.
I'll
Yeah.
be your. That's the new Top Gun. I'll fish your bump anytime. Daps up. Yeah, but yeah, it's there's a lot of like things that you don't really notice, like at least like somebody like maybe a general audience member doesn't notice, but there's a lot of people like I think with like
Thank you. It was Cooper.
who watch a lot of movies who notice the small things out of a performance that like shows that um that you definitely like see, like for instance like Sally Hawkins in Shape of Water. That was another like again, she's not actually deaf, so that also is something. And
Yeah.
had to communicate in sign language and like do all this stuff and then act against fucking Doug Jones in a fish costume. So there's that. So like there's a lot of things that like really good actors can make, like, and the thing is, at the end of the day, he made you believe that this relationship was real. He made you believe that this friendship could
It's
like
yeah.
like save the universe. So there's that too. So, there's this whole string of like just a lot of things about this performance that you don't notice, or you do notice if you have an eye for it, and that just brings it to award with anime. It's not just the case of like, oh, we like this movie, so he should be nominated. I'm not saying that. Like, oh yeah, Isaac Gonzalez should be nominated for Ash. I'm not saying that at all, because I know I personally like the movie, but in terms of someone who has watched a lot of movies and can, for the most part, discern like the best performances versus performances I like, this was definitely an award-worthy performance, at least for a nomination. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the article makes a couple of great points. I just wanted to kind of read off some of the stuff that was in the article. But like in one of the paragraphs, they say Gosling is essentially a one-man show for much of the film, and the performance demands something closer to what Tom Hanks accomplished with a volleyball in Castaway than what most
You know what we
blockbusters
should
ask of
do,
their
Dan?
leads. So
Because M2G we should do a Lord Miller directing tier list. There's only 4 movies, so it wouldn't
yeah.
take long, but I think we should
Should we throw the Spider-Verse movie in there as like a 5th option, just as a franchise? Like, I don't know.
I mean, we could throw in some production credits if you want to, Spider-Verse movies included, but like you could throw in some other ones like Strays. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. I mean, but okay. So I would love to do that. I think that would be a great idea. I think right now we can look at that as maybe we'll put it into the poll for next week's show. But yeah, I mean, this article, again, they're saying Project Hail Mary allows him to lean into his signature comedic timing, Ryan Gosling, his nervous energy and intellectual curiosity without sacrificing the grounded humanity that defines Ryan's best work. And who would think the way a man feels about a puppet shaped like a rock could make you cry so hard? That's the thing about like this performance, right? To me, Ryan Gosling, what he did here, like you said, John, it's, and not, look, Rocky is incredibly well written and performed in his own right. So, and even for that little moment that Meryl Streep makes a little voice cameo, it's just a lot of good stuff on both sides. But it's again a lot of the weight of this movie is carried on the shoulders of Ryan Gosling, and I think he does a fantastic job. And then in this article they were making a good point, like Michael B. Jordan just won for Best Actor. I think the door is now wide open because the genre movie is not getting dismissed outright like it used to be from Academy's more conservative voters back in the day, to the point where it can win now. I think the door is as wide open as it's ever been for a Ryan Gosling Best Actor, award, at least nomination, if not, give him the award. But yeah, and Rocky could become one of those most iconic, alien, characters in recent memory.
I could definitely see him as Wally West, like maybe like 20 years ago.
Yeah. But then, like, at the same time, John, do you remember? I don't know if you remember this, because this is definitely before our time, but it's something that was talked about when Gollum was being played by Andy Serkis. But the Academy used to give out an award called the Special Achievement Awards. They famously handed that out. Basically, it was stunning work that defied categories, and they famously handed it out to Ben Burt for creating the alien creature and robot voices of Star Wars. A lot of people wanted Andy Serkis to get that award for Gollum back when the Lord of the Rings trilogy was out. But I mean, that category doesn't exist anymore. But you got to wonder, if there was that category today, maybe Rocky would be the favorite to win that. So, not to mention, I mean, Harry Styles' "Sign of the Times" song just hits me, better and better each time I listen to it. I've got Cricket stretching on the floor next to me, looking like a cutie. Anyway, yeah, and then I also forgot to mention this, but not only is there a Superman reference in this movie, but there's also a couple of Beatles references, and so yeah, you guys haven't seen it. Like, if I haven't glazed it enough, don't you worry, we'll keep on glazing all the glaze. Yes, fist my bump. It totally makes sense. Totally makes sense to figure drawing, and I get what you were trying to get at too. Anyway, let's keep on going. We got more to talk about. Project Hail Mary. Let's keep the glazing on glazing. John, why don't you walk us through this, because the Hollywood Reporter taking a slightly more of a I don't know, like a pragmatic and maybe negative approach, in the sense that more pessimistic. Taking a more pessimistic approach to the situation, saying there's 4 lessons from Project Hail Mary that Hollywood should learn, and yet they probably will not take away. Walk us through these 4. Hello, Kevin.
So one of them says, assume audiences are smart. Yeah, Hollywood definitely ain't going to do that. Well, from what I've heard, and from people who read the book, and what this article says, Project Hail Mary does dumb down a lot of the science that's in Weir's novel, but like there's only so much science gobbledygook that you can put into the movie without it, like, it's a movie, it's a visual medium. There's only so much you could talk about with it before it becomes like extremely boring. So there's that, and it's never gonna, Hollywood would never do that, ever. Like, assume the audience is smart, never. Absolutely never. Because they have to dumb everything down further than what is done here. So yeah, it's but it shows that, like, hey, treating the audience smart, it has the only 2 like over $80 million openings for it and Oppenheimer, which are inherently smart movies, but even though it's going to make all this money and be culturally revered and beloved, it's Hollywood isn't, no, we're going to keep making things easily spoon feed the audience, because
yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think I'm glad we didn't get a lot of technobabble in this. Like, and then when they do show the science, they don't get too deep into it, and they try to use visual cues and just good storytelling techniques, so that they don't have to explain what are complex, some comprehensive concepts. Like, for example, like, when they're looking at star maps and stuff, they don't really explain it too much. They use visuals. Also, they use the means, like, I think Fiona's making a good point. Ryland Grace being a teacher kind of sets him up, which Andy Weir did a great job with this as a writer of the book, but then also in the movie, they really use that to their advantage, because as a middle school teacher, you're explaining concepts to kids that are hard to get across without necessarily, sometimes visuals really help. Most humans are visual learners. And you know, you don't really get to see the plot repeat in this movie a lot. They sort of do it. This movie works for the most part in a way where you're not seeing any redundant information. Like, it's edited really well, and yet there's scenes where it just lets you breathe, because, like, you know, the singing scene on the ship. I think we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, there's a lot here, and I agree with the point you guys are making. And hello, D Cole in the chat. But yeah, let's keep going, John. We got more reasons, more lessons
Embrace
to be
sincerity
learned
and
from this movie.
optimism. Crazy thought. Like, in a world where everything is terrible, everything is gonna turn out for the worst. It's like we have reality for that. Give us a little bit of like, at the very least, escapism. Like, I wanna, like, fucking be happy for 2.5 hours. What a crazy thought. Like, I get it. Like, everything has to, like, every show, everything, like The Boys, oh, it has to be political, show all the fucking shit, what's happening in the real world in our show, and how terrible it is, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. I could just go to, like, read a newspaper for that and be miserable reading that. Why do I want to be miserable watching, like, entertainment? Like, I understand there is a lot of, like, really good entertainment that is inherently depressing. But, like, at the same time, just give me some, like, feel-good shit for 2.5 hours. That's exactly what Project Hail Mary did.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to do that. I'm glad, because Tomorrowland was the same exact way. Yet
Yeah.
everybody hated that movie when that came out, even though it had the same fucking exact messaging. But luckily, this fucking eats through the cracks, had definitely a better writer, fuck you, Damon Lindelof, to actually showcase that properly. And you know what? It's sincere, it's emotional, it's good. And you know what? Good shit. And then at the same time, patience can be a virtue. It's 2.5 hours long, but, like, it doesn't feel that way. And you know what? That's more on, like, an editing, writing, and pacing sort of viewpoint. And there, like, I mean, that's hard to do, to, like, pace it properly. I mean, you can only do so much, like, with it being patience can be a virtue, because there could be 2.5 hour long movies that suck. And, you know,
Well,
there's that. But, like, the
yeah.
way it works, it kind of works towards the brain rot a little bit, because it's you're going back and forth, not with a totally different subplot. You're going flashbacks with what Grace went through to get
almost
to that
running
point.
in parallel, right? Yeah.
So,
running in
like, you
parallel
have,
to the
like,
movie.
it's kind of like Last 5 Years, where it's like, oh, they finally, like, meet at the end, and it's like at the, you know, it works.
But
So,
it's done in a way that doesn't feel like, sometimes, like with Nolan, there's a few Nolan movies, Christopher Nolan, Sir President Christopher Nolan movies, that feel like it's hard to kind of, you have to sort of figure your way out, to the point where he's like, just feel the movie. You don't really need to feel this movie. This movie just flows. I mean, the sequence where he's
I can't tell if you
those-
agree with me or hate me for that comment.
But I feel like that scene where he's doing, like, this funeral for the 2 astronauts that don't survive, that moment, the moment where they're singing, well, Sandra Hiller's character sings on the aircraft carrier. Those are some sequences which don't really advance the plot, but it's about character building, I feel like, in those moments. I mean, Ryan Gosling's idea, it was just, he came up with the idea to do that scene where Sandra Hiller's character sings the Harry Styles song.
Yeah, because that wasn't in the book. So
it wasn't in the book. Like, that was something original, and I think it works really, really well. But I mean, are those all 4 of the scenes?
There's one more, but
sorry,
it's like
lessons.
allowing the audience to breathe.
Yes.
Like, this is here. Why is it here? Oh, there's no reason. Oh, cut it out. No, let the audience breathe. Not every single, but at the same time, don't do, like, the fucking Marvel thing where it's like, oh, we got to insert this funny scene for funny because funny. Sometimes just, like, fucking calm down. It's not an onslaught on the senses. It's like, when you, oh, I gotta be this for this long, this for this scene. Just like, oh, okay. It's just a good moment between characters, and they, okay.
Yeah, it was a brilliant scene. And it, just like you said, let the audience breathe. Like, you don't need to run to the like you said, Hollywood movies these days seem to be like a sprint from the moment they begin, and they're trying to get, you know, everything set up, and, you know, what is in screenwriting sense, what is the call to action? You know, the hero's call to action, then they deny it, then they, you know, something happens, and then to jump, you know, head first into it after. You're trying to get past all that in the first 10-15 minutes. This movie takes a little bit longer for us to really get there. But yeah, I mean, the other one was using practical effects whenever possible, John. Like, I think
Yeah.
this movie has. a
Now,
lot
I
of that.
think because I know a lot of visual artists and a lot of CGI defenders get really mad at this, where it's like, oh, use practical effects because then, um, because then they turn around and then they do an Oscar campaign of like, oh, we did use CGI and like lying to the audience. I think which I understand because it's like you now you're kind of going, I mean, it was practical. You couldn't do anything else for literal decades. And then it's like, oh, we have this CGI thing. Let's use that a bunch. And it was kind of bad when it first came out. And then, like, they used it sparingly and it worked, or they actually spent time on it and it worked. And then it was like this cheap thing that you could just, like, okay, assembly line, let's get this shit going. And then it looks like garbage. Then there was a backlash to visual effects and people were upset with that. So then they're like, okay, we'll go to practical effects now. And like, but not in the way of like a genuineness to the practical effects. Like, oh, we'll just say practical effects.
Well,
But
like in
then,
Barbie,
like when the
like they
Oscar
hide
campaign
it.
comes,
Yeah.
oh no, we did use CGI the whole time, and fuck your practical effects. So I think, and because what people don't understand, CGI is not bad. CGI doesn't automatically suck. Okay?
Right.
You want to know how I know that? Because when CGI is used and your motherfucking dumbass can't tell, that's when it's good. Because you don't know when, like, for instance, I said this,
It's
I
hidden
forget
really
which
well.
review. It might have been this one, it might have been my other one that I did. But the thing is, like, even watching the movie and knowing, oh yeah, CGI was used at some point in this movie because it's a motherfucking movie that takes place in fucking space. Obviously, green screen is used, CGI is used. My dumbass can't fucking tell. You know why? Because it's good. Because they spent time on it. Not like $3, a ham sandwich, and no bathroom breaks like the average Marvel movie, and it looks like shit. Which
Well,
is like, oh, then CGI is terrible. No, CGI
I mean,
isn't terrible.
yes.
You want to know what? Like 1917 is another great example. Oh, CGI was using that? Yeah, CGI was using that because it's supposed to look like one fucking take of a movie, and you can't tell
Right.
because obviously actors can't fucking actually make an entire movie in one take. So they fucking, use CGI to intermittent thing to cut things together so you can like actually make
Right.
a proper movie and not like have actors like making 90 minutes in one take because that's literally impossible. So actually there was a Russian movie that did that, but that's beside the point.
Right.
But
I mean,
it's like it's like that's the thing. It's like practical effects are great when utilized, but the thing is the problem is with, and I swear I'm ending this soon because I know you want to talk, Dan. I'm sorry, but
it's
I will
okay.
say this one final thing, the thing that's like kind of annoying when it comes to CGI, practical effects when they're great are really fucking great. But the thing is, when practical effects are bad, they're still oddly charming. Look at the average 1970s Doctor Who episode. Like when they had to use tinfoil. And it's charming. It's bad, but like in a charming kind of way. When CGI is really, really fucking good, you can't tell, and it's obviously it's great. But when CGI is bad, like I don't know, like early stuff like
yes.
Tron or Last Starfighter or the first Toy Story movie, it's not as charming,
Well,
and it's just like, oh, this looks bad. So when
it's,
the
I think,
CGI is bad, you can
yeah.
tell, and it's not charming and it's ugly. When it's really good, you
Yeah.
can't tell. So that's where it works,
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I think with the first Tron, for example, well, to me, the first Tron movie, they kind of lent into the limitations and used that to their benefit. But yes, I mean, it's the whole idea of CGI as being like this. There's a lot, this hype word, but also from people in the industry and a lot of people who now have a better idea of how movies are made. Like, if you're gonna do things practically, then do things practically and talk about it. If you have good CGI visual effects in it, then praise the VFX artists and the work that they have done. Also, great art direction and great VFX supervisors who do a lot of work in getting the logistics of how good VFX are done and putting those pieces in place. So like, just don't lie. Like the Barbie behind the scenes stuff, literally they were removing green screens from shots on the DVD exclusives because they were like, we didn't do any CGI, it's all practical, even though they clearly had a lot of stuff shot on green screens. This movie with Project Hail Mary, they do have the a lot of the interior of the ship practically built because they spent so much time in there, and there was a lot of improvisation with some of like the scene blocking. So they used that to their benefit because it was like it would be good to actually have it practically so that we can move around and like, make it feel authentic. But you know, and there were sequences where they built the parts of the exterior of the ship, and they shot that against like volume screens, so they didn't use any blue screens and green screens, and you just get, because you know the exterior of the ship has like a reflective surface to it, so it's a lot harder to replace all that lighting. And you know, if you have a green screen, blue screen, then you have to basically almost just replace the whole thing in post anyway. But if you do it against the volume stage, or you know, of some kind, then it just, you know, the lighting is there in camera, it just works. So I think for this movie, you know, all the earth stuff was pretty feasible. There's no reason to do any of that with, you know, a lot of CGI, but there is a lot of hidden effects. Obviously, anytime you see the astrophage glow, that's, you know, could be done practically, but it could also be CGI. There's a lot of compositing work that we probably can't even tell right now. Minor things, you know, even sometimes for continuity, they do compositing. Like in compositing, in terms of compositing for invisible VFX, sometimes what they do is they will change the facial hair on an actor so that the continuity from scene to scene matches, or maybe there's a shot that they got, you know, set of shots they got on a different day and the facial hair looked just off. You could fix that with CGI. You'll never know because it everything, you know, looks the same afterward. And I'm not talking removing a mustache. I'm just saying, like, oh, if you had a 5 o'clock shadow last time, maybe you need to brush it up a little bit. That is all possible that people don't really notice or care for. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good lessons from this movie, especially for a movie that's not a big franchise, that's not a sequel, where you can, you know, definitely, hopefully Hollywood is taking the right lessons away and then applying them, because this movie did not cost $250 million to make. It's hopefully going to make his money back, given it's gotten off to a $140 million start. And Ryan Gosling, I think, to the point that MTG was making earlier, let's talk about it. Let's continue the glaze, John, because now we get to the social media marketing and just in general, you know, Ryan Gosling has been out there, like MTG is saying. The marketing's really strong, and Gosling has really been out there and marketing the positive reviews weeks earlier than the movie came out. It's truly helped too. And of course, Amazon Prime Video did those early Prime exclusive screenings, and both of us went and saw it this past Monday. So a week ago, we got to see the movie, and then that wasn't even the press screenings. The press screenings happened a week before that. So there's been organic buzz building for this movie for a couple of weeks. Ryan Gosling's popped in to one of the screenings. I don't know if this was New York City or wherever this was, but he popped into one of the screenings on Thursday night, the Thursday night previews, and you could see how excited everybody was in the crowd. So yeah, you know, he's personally passionate about this movie, and so he's showing up and showing out about that. And I think that's only helping, because this is the kind of movie where literally the movie is built, you know, on Ryan Gosling's performance, as you know, Tom Hanks' performance basically led the way for Castaway. But yeah, it is all I can say is it's amaze. And they've got like the Rocky character involved in a bunch of stuff too. Yes, Ryan Gosling, Canadian, of course, and one of many amazing Canadian actors in Hollywood today. If you go to the next thing here, John, on Instagram, I just, every time I see, you know, I literally was just scouring the social medias of all this today for all this stuff. It is the number one movie in the universe, that we are aware of. I don't know what they're watching in Iridian, but I'm sure they enjoyed Project Hail Mary, or Arid. All the Iridians, I'm sure, enjoyed Project Hail Mary. But let's keep going, because I want to point this out. We talked about this last Monday, but at that point the movie hadn't come out yet. Everyone fist my bump, thank you. But the Rotten Tomatoes ratings are pretty solid. 94% on Rotten Tomatoes for the tomato meter, and then 96% on the popcorn meter. That is certified fresh, along both, or like, you know, certified hot if you go by the popcorn meter. John, this
One
number
of the
was
few
sitting
times that critics and audiences agree
Yeah.
on a movie that highly.
Usually they're pretty close. There have been some time, like we have noticed a few. Yes, but in this case, it's almost one for one. Over 300 reviews. Remember last week we looked at this?
I was literally saying that a couple days ago. I was like, I was saying this movie is it gives you two different numbers. One is like 200 for like gross, and the other one is like 250 for like net. I don't know what that means. I just say
there's the marketing, and then there's also like you got to remember they'll have like production tax credits that subtract from.
But it even gives you like two different on Wikipedia, which is like they never give you two numbers. So like, it's 200
hard to get an official number.
Million roughly. And the thing is, watching this, I'm like, yep, this movie definitely cost $200 to $250 million. Meanwhile, I'm watching like an MC movie. I'm like, this costs $10 million. And then 190 went to Kevin Feige's paycheck. That's what it feels like to me. So, it's like, yes, I can see where the money went. For most Marvel movies, I don't know where the money went, and I'm willing to bet it's lining somebody's pockets because they are probably embezzling shit.
But it's also like a process thing because Marvel changes so many things up, so that a lot of the work that they do in the movie gets left on the cutting room floor because there's like 5 different versions of the movie before it comes out. And so you don't really see the cost add up because a lot of the cost is not put on screen. And that's to do with like, you have a clear vision as a director, writer, and as filmmakers, and you follow through on that vision. That's how you maximize the budget that you have and then put the most amount of that money on screen. And I think this movie does that. 316 reviews equals 94% in Rotten Tomatoes. There's only like 6. That means basically 94% of those 316 critics love the movie.
Fuck those 18 people who gave it a rotten score.
Yeah.
You can fist my bump, but not in the good way. So.
And then the audiences, dude, that's like a 96% is almost perfect. It's a week ago we were looking at this. I think even late last week we were looking at the popcorn meter first started at 99% with 500 plus. Now you got over 5,000 reviews, and then we were looking at like 100 plus critics reviews, and it was sitting at 95%. It's only gone down by 1%. This is better rated than F1 was.
I think it was
Superman,
introduced at 95. It went up to 96, and then it went back down to 94. So.
Yeah, I mean, some movies, like, you put a lot of money towards the salaries, like One Battle After Another. But other movies, you can see the budget on screen, and this is one of those. And I just wanted to point out, look, it stands the test of time of, like, the movies now out. You got pretty much every reviewer who does reviews over 300 is still in the 90s. The audiences love it, which to me speaks well for the movie's legs, because there's 2 weeks before the Super Mario Galaxy movie comes out. So the Super Mario Brothers Galaxy, that movie I think is the one that's gonna like finally topple this off the box office top
for all ages. So, and
even then, I feel like if this movie has like by that point crossed 300 million, which is very likely because it's the kind of movie, like, for example, I just went to see it on a Monday 2 p.m. matinee screening. That's the last matinee screening before you get into the evening hours. When I got the tickets, the entire back row was empty, half the theater was empty. When I showed up to the movie theater and we walked in, Fiona and I, almost the entire theater was full, and a ton of those people were just like walk-ins or people who bought their tickets really late, and there were a lot of couples. I saw like some younger folks. I saw more families last Monday, but in this screening, but like I was like, this is a Monday afternoon, and it's not like it's summer, it's March, it's a Monday. And
for me, what was really interesting, when I went to go see it the second time, my entire row was empty. I'm like, that's like the row to the back of me and the front of me were filled. This one row was like empty. I don't know why. It was like mad weird, but I went, I picked my ticket, and then when I got there were people filling up, and there was exactly one seat to the left of me and one seat to the right. And so I was waiting, and this like nice older gentleman comes up to me. He's kind of chatting with me, and he's like, "Oh, I came here with my wife, and she's in that seat." And he points to the seat to my left. And I'm like, "I'm gonna take a guess you want me to move." He's like, "Can you?" And I'm like, "That's no problem at all." So I went to the next seat over, and then they get to sit together. But even then, it was just like so fucking absurdly. It was like that whole row empty, and then when I got there, boom, pretty much totally full. I was like, and most of the theater was full, and I saw it I saw it prime hours. I saw it like, when did I think I saw it at 4 in the afternoon. and
That
that
still
was
feels like
again.
an early screening in
Yeah,
the
it was
day,
like
right? But
it was a
yes.
good time, and like a lot of people were in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just like it's this amount of people showing up for an original movie. Yes, it does
Yeah.
have Ryan Gosling in it, but star power means very little nowadays. It's just like,
Yeah.
hey, it had a good marketing
I
budget.
mean,
It had a lot of good
it's
things. Like it had a sci-fi
yeah.
feel that a lot of people like. It's got the cutesy parts for kids. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, I think
I
definitely
was gonna say
worked.
exactly. Ryan Gosling was in Blade Runner 2049. That movie made no money at all. So like it's, I mean, marketing matters, but at the same time, the movie itself is like the whole. If you build it, they will come. So, uh, Tony saying I wanted to see a video of John saying I paid for this seat, like the airplane video YouTube videos. Okay,
Oh
well,
God, no! I would never do that.
let's keep going here. We gotta glaze some more because, dude, if there wasn't anything else that would convince you, look at the letterbox reviews for this movie. I think they're pretty epic as well, and it just there's so many of them that speak so highly of it. This one says the type of film where you never wash the clothes you watched it in, and every year on the year you put those clothes back on, just to get to relive the experience. Yeah. Um, yep. I mean, come on. It's these are the kind of reviews I read through these. I'm gonna go through all of them here, but some of the like the wording here, these are people who are not critics necessarily, like professional critics at Rotten Tomato. They're just like people who just love movies. Like this one here it's a generational movie that will be a modern standard of sci-fi films going forward, and a reminder of why the theatrical experience is so vital, John. I mean, this is what you love to hear. Uh, then if you keep going, I think the next link that I want to get into, um, it's just again, it's the whole thing of like what makes movies and what what cinema is all about. This particular like social media trailer, I think th- to me visually it summarizes the movie in a way that was very beautiful. Like the whole idea, if you have seen this story before, is you have to go save the world, and like this guy gets sent down. I mean, Interstellar was in a lot of ways like that, but this movie is a very different approach because like that those four words, Rocky Grace save stars, like that. I mean, it's just like, oh,
It's actually Grace
you know
Rocky save stars, but
Grace Rocky save stars. But anyway, sorry. I was like, oh, okay.
Grace got
Grace,
top billing. Sorry, he's the human. He
yes.
has to get top billing.
Yeah, I get it.
So
But like Grace Rocky save stars. Like, come on. Like, I like it. I like it. The people have spoken, as Tony said. You know what? Also, the social media marketing for this has been on point. If you go to the next thing, and thank you to you, Stacy, for tuning in. Um, so Hrithik Roshan, if you guys are familiar, like he did this movie that was basically like E.T. except in Bollywood years ago. We actually have a video on the channel called Bollywood versus Hollywood comparing E.T. to Koi Mil Gaya, which is basically the Indian movie where they have this character called Jadoo, who's like the alien that comes to Earth, gets left behind, and then like younger Hrithik Roshan, he's like, I don't want to say he's in his 60s now. He looks pretty good for it. Uh, but like he was in his 30s back then, younger actor, and he's got like I think he's on the spectrum, and so his friends are all like much younger than him, but it's like a Spielbergian sort of like ET-esque movie, and so he's an iconic like cultural icon. Jadoo, they call the character, which literally translates to magic from Hindi to English, because he's got powers, of course, like ET did. And so they did this like little collaboration, because of course Amazon, and you get like the whole fist fight, but like Rocky in there. It's great. It's great. This is if you're a fan from India or that part of the world, if you ever watched Koi Mil Gaya and you know the Jadoo character, this hit me in the right way. My sister sent this to me, and I'm like, you know what? I already saw the movie, but if I hadn't, I would, this would be one more reason why. And there's a huge audience in India, I think, who's been going to see this movie, and will continue to do so. And any other part of the world where they love Bollywood movies. But yeah, let's keep going, because I this is something I think Fiona shared with me. Actually, she shared something related to this, but the sweater that Ryan Gosling wears in the movie has like a whole story unto itself. That like the costume designer shared how that came to be. Like the sweater that they used in the movie was initially like a design that Did I disappear on you?
You stopped talking for a
I
sec.
stopped. But like Ryan Gosling's sweater in the movie, Grace's sweater has like these wolves in the back, and they were like, oh, maybe it's too aggressive for a middle school teacher. But ultimately, when they went through all the costume fittings and everything, turns out the directors and Ryan like really love that sweater, and it just ended up in there. And so, uh, uh, they were just sharing the costume. One of the costume designers were sharing this story, and it's just again, you get to see these little details and how they get put together into the look of the character, because it becomes an essential part of the Ryan Gosling, the Grace Ryland look in the movie, uh, and it has its origins, going way 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 back. I was frozen in space and time. I'm back now. Thank you, Tony. Uh, yeah, I mean Ryan Gosling is in one heck of a run. I mean he's got a Star Wars movie coming out next year. uh he's he could become that next, like, top star. I don't know if we have one of those right now, like the top star in Hollywood, but Gosling, between Barbie, Project Hail Mary, like you said, MTG, and then Starfighter, could be that. Actually, if you go to the next thing, because oh, you are in the next thing, this right here, Tom Daly, made a version of the sweater for Ryan Gosling, which is another, like, again, social media influencer crossover. And so yeah, Ryan Gosling's on the naughty list, the KNOTTY naughty list. I thought this was really fun, because of course that's handmade, and wow, it takes inspiration from what was in the movie. What did the fox say? Yep. Let's keep going. Because speaking of ET, Ryan Gosling was doing interviews for the movie. He was on the Drew Barrymore show, and she was sitting uncomfortably close, like she usually does. No personal space. But Ryan Gosling was talking about how growing up, like, he remembers he had movies like E.T. that Drew Barrymore was in, and that was like just gave us this hope of like a hopeful, brighter future. And we just don't seem to get that kind of sci-fi anymore. And that he wanted to do this movie for his like kids who growing up, for them to have something like that to look up to, that is more of the here and the now. And like him and Ava Mendes, like his wife, they both are looking for those kind of movies to go see. And well, here we go.
And
Project
then
Hail Mary is
Ryan Gosling pulled a Thanos, and he's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself.
Do it myself.
Time to hope, motherfuckers." So
he's just Ken, Anywhere else he'd be a 10. But dude, one of the most heartwarming things I saw today about Project Hail Mary wasn't even anything involving Ryan Gosling. It was the puppeteer advisor for Rocky, who shared her experience of seeing the movie, and seeing her name in the credits, like like a major theatrical release, and she signed it. So I presume that she's maybe she's mute, but like this was beautiful to see, because I'm like, as somebody who's worked in the business, yeah, like, it's a close enough thumbs up. Yeah, it's beautiful to see when you see your name on something like this, especially something like a movie like Project Hail Mary that so many people relate to in such a loving way. It makes it all the more special that you get to see your name. Like, if you ever go to see a movie that you were a part of, however small a part you might have.
that was me, although it wasn't my own name, obviously. But I remember watching Gravity Falls, and me and my sister loved the show, and we watched the last episode together.
Yeah.
And we saw, I don't know, this is for people who was chronically on the internet way back in the fucking like mid 2000s. We saw the sister of Neil Cicierega, Emmy Cicierega. She worked as like an animation advisor on that. Like, she was, I think, a storyboard artist on that show. We're like, wait a minute. The guy who did Potter Puppet Pal's sister fucking did Gravity Falls? That's insane. And
that's a deep cut.
It was this nice, like, kind of weird, even though it wasn't my own, it was like this weirdly touching moment of like, oh, this person that like did this stupid YouTube thing, or was kind of part of it, would go on. Like, that's kind of what it is like for all these like YouTubers making movies, although they're much bigger than like this rinky dink fucking like animation / puppet show parody that was the mysterious ticking noise and all that fun stuff. But it was just so like just like wow, that's crazy. But yeah, it was definitely that was like a fun moment because like I
Yeah,
was like, oh shit, that's crazy. Because we both watched Potter Puppet Pals, so we were like, wait a minute. I mean,
I love
Ciceriga's
Potter Puppet
pretty hard
Pals.
to like
Yes.
forget. Like that's a
Yeah.
very abnormal name, like my own
Yeah.
name. It's like, oh shit, no, okay, obviously it has to be like that person. So I was like, oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Snape, Severus
Severus
Snape,
Snape.
Dumbledore. Okay.
Anyway.
I always like to honor the credits, especially the first time I see the movie. Maybe not every time if I see it like 5 times, but I'll sit through as much of the credits as possible because it's a way of acknowledging the hard work of everybody who worked on the movies, especially movies this big. There's sometimes gonna be thousands of people, there usually are. But like the puppeteer advisor here, right? Like Chrissy Marshall, like she did some very important work on the movie, even though it doesn't seem like much, but like they had somebody providing good guidance and advice on how Rocky would be communicating both through sign language, because you're trying to learn from an alien species how they communicate, and it goes both ways. And so not just making it up on the fly like George Lucas would in Star Wars. I mean, they have a sense of grounding in how visual communication and how different species communicate. Like I told you the first time I watched this movie last week, I want to come home and hug my cats and just like cuddle with them, because it's just not that, again, like Rocky isn't Ryland Grace's pet in the movie, but it's just that relationship, that sense of communication where you don't speak the same language, you're not even the same species, but you have a way of communicating. And in this movie, they get to a point where they're able to talk to each other, but it's just a beautiful thing that, humans already do really well. But I think that's being the soul of the movie is amazing. Yeah, I mean, this movie does not have any end credit scenes, but so just sitting through the credits, you just listen to the music, the soundtrack, and you honor the work of the people that made this movie, the experience that you just got to have. Uh, but I mean, this was a fun sequence, Rocky and Ryland promoting the movie. He's like, Rocky's seen it the movie once. Amaze, amaze, amaze. And it's just like jazz hands, like love it. Like he's like, oh, that's for you. It's for us, like it's thumbs up. It's like this great stuff. Uh, Again, if you haven't seen the movie, as you can tell, the glaze is ongoing. So we highly recommend it that you go see the movie. I think in this one he says "fist my bum" again, and he's like, "Ah, close enough." Still not quite it, but like, yeah.
It's time go.
It's time go. Yes. All right. He's like, the thing about how Ryan Gosling reacts to a lot of those moments of like levity, where Rocky's just there's only like 250 words that they're making this up with, that Rocky has to work with there in his grammar and vocabulary. The way Ryan Gosling reacts to it feels very human, and it doesn't feel human in the way of, oh, this is Tony Stark having fun. Which part of the reason why some of that MCU humor always hits well is because it makes it feel human. You're like, oh, there's a space god and a super soldier with with an Iron Man battle armor dude, like all together, and then there's Loki who knows how to do magic. Makes sense. Oh, and then by the way, there's a green monster Hulk running around, and then 2 super spies. Like, how do you ground that stuff? The humor helps. And in this movie, I think the stakes are so big, and then the story, the scope of it is so big. The humor and the levity, and it grounds it in a sense of reality that we can relate to. So, yeah, I if you guys haven't already been convinced, if you haven't already seen it, if you have already seen it, go see it another time. Go see Project Hail Mary. I think John and I agree that it is amaze. And that's been the glaze. So let's move on to the next thing, because now we got to move on from glazing Project Hail Mary to glazing the MCU. Wonderman, that's a great starting point. John, we just got the news. Wonderman has been renewed for season 2 with Yahya Abdul-Mateen II and Sir Ben Kingsley both returning. Only 2 other Marvel live-action TV shows have ever received a second season. If you guess those correctly, then I think people will think, oh, Figure Drawing will give you some credit at least. But it's rare that you get to see this from the MCU, because I personally thought it was going to be like, oh, we're moving on to the movies, but apparently they're not, John, because Loki got a season 2, and then of course Daredevil has gone now more than a season 2, it's on to season 3 soon. I didn't think Wonder Man would get a season 2. I thought it was a one and done, and yet here we are. And it's not just that, but both of the leads are going to be back in the next season. This has me excited. I think Wonder Man is probably the best
I
thing
mean,
Marvel
it
has done
receives so
in
much
a few
positivity
years.
because like it was a different
It's
thing of like, you
it
know,
was beautiful.
Ironheart and like where it was like positive but like kind of mixed mainly. This
Yeah.
was like you know, I only one other person I know gave it like a not great review. He just didn't really care for it, not his thing. So I was like, whoa, shit, they actually are listening to people here and giving them, you know, a proper season 2. So that's definitely something. Although it is funny because a bunch of my friends saw like the trailer for this and like, oh, this looks like shit. I'm not gonna watch it. And one of the people, one of my friends who did not watch the show, I posted it in our group chat. I was like, "Oh, this is interesting how they gave it a season 2." Because and he's like, "What the fuck do you mean they gave it a season 2?" I'm like, "It got positive reviews." He's like, "This is fucking stupid." I'm like, "You didn't watch the show. You can't judge it that it
Mm-hmm.
was bad. Why are you mad? You make no sense."
Yep.
So,
It's a great show. This show,
so
it's
why
so
did
well
excellent
made.
anyway, you know, that I was Toy Story 2.
Like
Okay. Anyway,
like
but
John, to me, not only is it the two people in front of the camp, like Yahya Abdul Mateen II, Sir Ben Kingsley, they're both coming back, but the Andrew Guest, who was the showrunner of season 1, is also returning for season 2. And Destin Daniel Cretton, once he's done with Spider-Man Brand New Day, he's going to return and direct the episodes for season 2 as well. So not only do they have the same talent in front of the camera, but also behind the camera coming back, which I'm sure Destin Daniel Cretton will probably be working on a 5th and a 6th Spider-Man movie. But the fact that they're keeping, those key talent leads, like both behind and in front of the camera attached, that will provide great continuity and then hopefully a great promise for the same kind of quality storytelling, which again, we just talked about Project Hail Mary for an hour. That movie is built on the relationship of its two lead characters. This show is built on the relationship of its two lead characters, and that's the heart of the show, the soul of the show, and the journey that they go through, and the way it ends with, like, again, a hopeful note of moving forward and not something dark, or like, there's already the origin stories for these two characters are pretty dark as is. So how they move forward together, and that, again, friendship, the theme of friendship being at the center of it all. I love what they did with Wonder Man. It also was the least comic booky feeling MCU show they've ever done. There wasn't a big third act kind of like CGI fest fight sequence in the final episode of the season 1, and they didn't need it, and they just sort of like took the story to its natural conclusion, it felt like, and they left the door open for a lot more stories to be told. And now I'm just glad that those stories will be told in another season of shows. It just, again, to me, this is another example of Marvel finally having, learned the lesson of make TV shows like TV shows have always been made. Make them for TV. Don't make them like movies, because I think that was the problem with a lot of their early MCU shows on Disney Plus, that felt like they were clearly being made, almost meant to be like movies except on TV. And so they felt like, somebody maybe took a really long 6-hour, 4-hour movie, cut them up into 6 episodes, and they felt incomplete. None of the episodes really could stand on their own. The structures weren't really, the story just didn't, add up. You just felt like you were getting plopped in and then getting yanked out too early each episode. Wonder Man wasn't that. Daredevil Born Again isn't that. And so I'm just glad that they've righted the ship on that front. And I really enjoyed Wonder Man. I can't wait to see season 2. Marvel is actually now looking to mount a whole awards for your consideration campaign for this when the Emmy season comes around later this year, because of how well the show has been received. And I think it'll be well deserved. And now that they have given it a second season, they can't really nominate it in the limited series category. But you know what?
but you
Best
should
comedy
fist my
series
bum.
will work. So, yeah, don't yank my chain, but do fist my bum. Anyway, but let's move on from Wonder Man to talking about, I was just mentioning Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah,
John, why
there
don't you
he
walk
is.
us through all the Daredevil Born Again stuff? Because we got a new look at the suit. Again, looks pretty sick. I like the black and red. Uh, the more I see it, the more I like it. I wonder if we'll see what the suit looks like for season 3 soon, because they're gonna be producing and filming the season 3 soon. But we have some more insight into what season 3 might look like, John, because the showrunner of Daredevil Born Again was talking about where things might be headed in season 3.
Ugh. But apparently in season 2's final 5 minutes, that's where we're gonna go, and it's like, huh, interesting. Talking to Dexerto, it was put to him and Daredevil Born Again executive producer Sana Amanat that it would be fun to see Matt Murdock leading the Hand in season 3, aka what the Shadowland arc is about. That would be super fascinating. After you watch season 2, you'll know exactly what we're doing in the final 5 minutes of season 2. There will be no more questions about where this is going.
Ooh.
And Scarlet Payne has already confirmed that the Mayor Fisk storyline ends this year, which makes sense because, I mean, we don't see him in, Brand New Day. So it's probably he's going to go back to prison where he belongs. But recently, Charlie Cox also touched on season 3 plans. So he's like, there's a pitch that was presented to both of us that is seismic and we can't talk about. It's something that the show escalates towards that I was equally excited about and excited to explore and also concerned by because it's something that, if not handled properly, could not be good. It's a big, bold story point, I believe, and I hope that it's been handled really well. Worry about everything, and that's what, it's kind of said here. He has said he is both excited and worried about this upcoming season, not the one coming in a few days, but season 3, so.
Which is about to go into production. That's why they're talking about
they already did start filming, so.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, look, at least he's honest, right? Because there's always, and he's somebody who's read the comics, so he's aware of what the fandom thinks about certain, Daredevil stories and how the more beloved a story is, the harder it is to adapt. Because a lot of fans will have very specific expectations for it. We come across this all the time. And then there's some nuances where if you're going from a comic to screen, how faithfully can you adapt some things? It's difficult both from a practical standpoint, but also storytelling decisions get made as something is filmed and edited, written, filmed, and edited. So I appreciate that Charlie Cox is being honest about some of his hesitations, but look, he might be singing a completely different tune in a few weeks, few months' time once they're done filming the show, season 3, which I'm sure by then we'll have some set photos to look at. But speaking of set photos, John, we never got to see any set photos of Daredevil and Spider-Man share the screen when No Way Home came out. But it was because they only had that little cameo where, Matt Murdock was just playing a very good lawyer. Do you think, though, you talked about it the other day, one of those sequences where they're fighting the Hand, maybe Daredevil does show up in Spider-Man Brand New Day? Are we manifesting this? Are we going to get a Daredevil Spider-Man crossover this summer?
I would hope so. That would be pretty awesome. And
Tony's already calling it.
Dapping up. Perfect. But yeah, I think
our,
that would
our
be
moment, like the big, slow-mo manly.
Well, I was thinking more of I think it was like Cyclops and Ken from Street Fighter. There was this gif that went viral of them dapping each other up.
Yeah.
So that's I think what this is parodying specifically. But yeah, that would be the Marvel versus Capcom. See that it says it in the description. So yeah, that's that would be awesome. And also I would love to see this. I know it's just color graded, but I would love to see this, like the red suit with the DDs on the chest. I mean, I love the black suit. It's great, but
This is what I think a lot of Marvel fans have been wanting for years. I think that you want to really make $2 billion with Spider-Man Brand New Day, you give us that Daredevil crossover. You give us that Spider-Man crosses paths with a really good lawyer who also happens to be the Devil of the Night. Like, come on, that's what we want to see. But yeah, that was all well, not Spider-Man. That's all the Daredevil stuff we got. But speaking of Spider-Man, John, we got a bunch of Spider-Man theories, and we got some potential mysteries to solve, as it were, because the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer just broke a ton of records with this trailer. And that has led to a lot of theory gazing online, as it were. Do you think the Jackal is the hidden main villain of the movie, John?
I don't think
Because apparently
so,
there's some
because-
clues and
Because
rumors
then that
out
would mean
there.
we would do Clone Saga shit, and I don't think they're gonna do that.
But because this article sort of makes an argument that maybe there's a bigger plan to this, because even Jean Grey has been cloned in the comics, and if Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey, maybe she's not playing Jean Grey, the real Jean Grey. And there's, yeah, I mean, Shathra, the Spider Queen. There's other options. There's also a little bit of a, you know, Easter egg in that particular shot, the green jackal, which is like one of the.
Oh my god, guys, fucking
So-
calm down. I don't think that fucking means anything.
Do you think it's just a nod? You know, sometimes an Easter
I think
egg
it's
could
just a
simply be
nod to
just an
Green
Easter egg.
Goblin and the Jackal. I think that's
Mm.
all that means, you know?
Yeah, sometimes a Easter egg is just that, an Easter egg. You know,
Yeah.
it's there's no more to it. I mean, it would be if that's the direction they are indeed going, and if we have one of those like, you know, who are you? He's like, I'm Trevor Slattery, like, except, you know, like I'm Jackal, Green Jackal, like that would say a lot about where this whole trilogy of movies, the next this Spider-Man 5, 6, 4,
Yeah,
5,
and the
6 would be
Cosmic
going.
Circus, they've been kind of iffy, so they're like, oh, Miles Warren is definitely one of the antagonists of the movie, but as the Jackal, so it's like, I don't know about that, bruh.
I mean, we might see the character Miles Warren, but maybe not as the Jackal. So, yeah. But let's keep going, because we got more to talk. Hell no, is he becoming Hobgoblin? That would be the biggest creative malpractice since Taskmaster.
Hobgoblin? That sounds like the porn
Yeah.
parody version of Hobgoblin. Yeah, he's Hobgoblin that knob, and it's like, okay, God, what the fuck?
Thank you, Caleb, for that. Speaking of Sadie Sink's character, there might be more than one mutant in the movie, John. That's another rumor going about right now. You're the geeky cast?
you know.
I don't know who the
but,
geeky cast is. Are they legit? Like, is that?
I don't
what do you
even
think make of
fucking
this
know who
rumor?
this is.
Because I mean, the idea would be that Harris Dickinson, who I think is in the movie, but we didn't really see him in the first trailer. Could he be playing Scott Summers? Are we getting a young Cyclops in this before we even get to Doomsday, which would be interesting? Because that would establish not one but maybe two.
Because if
of the
both
future
Cyclops and Jean Grey are in this, is like, just fucking make an X-Men movie, bro. Why are we doing this for Spider-Man? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Because the whole idea would be once he goes the Man Spider route, isn't he also a mutant at that point? I don't know. I know in the Amazing Spider-Man movies they had the idea of, in the first movie they kind of talked about how maybe the reason why the spider bite caused Peter to have all those powers was because there was some DNA experimentation, like their DNA was very specifically coded to the technology of the Parkers, that, you know, both of his parents were meant to be scientists who get killed, right, in the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, which was going to play into the Sinister Six story down the road too. So anyway, I'm just saying they've kind of gone close to that before, so maybe not that far off the mark if they go that way. But there's a trailer mystery also in this that I think we should talk about. That basically, if you watch the international version of the trailer for not Amazing Spider-Man, but Brand New Day, there's some sequences where in the North American version of the trailer for Spider-Man, you see the web shooters, and then there's the international version, and the web shooters are not there. Especially there, if you scroll down, there's the bus sequence, you know, when he gets plastered across the side of a New York City bus. Very typical Spider-Man sequence that we have seen before in the previous iterations. You see the two versions side by side here. The one at the top is the domestic version, the one in North America that if you live in US, Canada, you saw that. That you could see on his right hand, there is no web shooter. The international version does have web shooters. John, like, what do you think that implies, if anything at all, that they're, because like, that's got to be a choice, a decision, right? Unless for some reason they're using two different versions of the VFX shot. We know that when they were filming a lot of this stuff, that's what's taking place in the streets of Glasgow. I don't know if they shot this particular sequence in the streets of Glasgow, but like a lot of the stuff with the Punisher tank, the battle tank, we saw Tom Holland's Spider-Man, all the photos, he had the web shooters, like the practical web shooters. So you gotta wonder, like, have they removed them? Did they forget to remove them in one of them, or did they actually add them on in post and not in one to the other one, but they did to the one? Why do you think there's such a weird small difference between the two trailers? Is it just an oversight from the creative team, or is there more to it than that?
This seems more like, because the thing is, you'd have to like digitally removing something
There's
takes
a
a
lot
lot
of
of work,
work.
especially when it looks that good. Because you can
Yeah.
tell if it's like a shoddy job. Like when they obviously removed characters from that hand shot at the end of the trailer of the rebirth shot, then yeah, you can tell that it's definitely, they removed somebody there, but like that's just because of what the other characters are doing, and there's so much empty space there. With the web shooters, it looks good. So it's just like, what is it? Is it they added or they got rid of? I'm thinking
Hey,
it's
Ron.
easier to add them. So I'm thinking that maybe the tank scene isn't as early as we think, and they added the web shooters to the domestic release of the trailer, but not to the international release. Maybe it's just like a to get people talking like this. That's entirely possible. But at the same time, it could be hello, Ron. It could be like, oh, they added the web shooter to show like, oh, this is early on in the movie, and to not, you know, do shit. And, you know, um and then they forgot to do that for the international one. So, because the thing is, remember, there's the whole idea, because this is rumor, so we don't know if this is true or not, but that Punisher takes in Sadie Sink's character to protect her from the government, which is damage control, and Spider-Man, who's after her, and that is why, maybe that's why he's going after the tank, because he knows that
Right.
this body hopping person, who's maybe, Sadie Sink's character, is there, so he's trying to protect her and try to take the tank down so he can get her out of there and protect her for what, it's Frank Castle. He's an anti-hero. Just like, he's maybe like, fuck the government, so he's just, doing that, which is, again, a very Frank Castle thing to do.
Right.
So, I'm willing to believe that maybe that's the case. But who knows? Because that was purely based on a rumor. We don't know if that's actually true. So.
Well, to me, if you add all the pieces up to so far from the trailer and just like just a little bit of what you mentioned, Spider-Man seems to be working with the Department of Damage Control in this movie. He's like the big hero of the city. They're giving, as a very public figure, the DODC can't really go after him in the same way that they would if he was like a Wonderman, like where they just feel like, yeah, we're just gonna go after Simon Williams, like, and you're gonna help us, Trevor Slattery, do that. You scum of the earth, Trevor Slattery. But I think here, like you said, the Punisher is trying to protect Sadie Sink's character, who could be a mutant. Like maybe that's because that's been the DODC's target so far in the MCU. A lot of the superpowered mutant characters, Miss Marvel, Wonder Man, and now would be Sadie Sink's character. So the Jean Grey theory would also work in favor of that. And yeah, so Frank, trying to protect her, Spider-Man trying to go after her. Eventually, once he goes through his transformation, he could be then classified by the DODC as a mutant of sorts, or like a powered being. And then he becomes the subject of their stuff too. Maybe something happens publicly that maybe the city's opinion of Spider-Man changes too. Maybe not. Maybe the DODC just thinks he's too much of a threat. Turns into Ben Affleck's Batman from BVS. So
Maybe
at that
better
point, I
written,
think, yeah, it says a 1% chance. I could take it as an absolute certainty, but anyway, the idea would be, I think, that thematically you kind of flip the script on Spider-Man, Peter Parker, that all of a sudden he goes from being this beloved, like, somebody who's working with the DODC, and he sort of found his way back into a part of society that Peter Parker was erased from, and now he's like all of a sudden like chastised again, and now he's the one being chased around, and maybe that changes his relationship and how he feels about the Sadie Sink character. And then maybe how it relates to Frank Castle's character too, and then Mark Ruffalo's maybe Hulk comes in. Maybe that's the instigator and all of that. Like that, wouldn't that be the one way that you could turn the narrative around publicly in like a public fight against Hulk, who saved New York years ago. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing a little bit. Obviously, a lot
of course,
theory
that's all we
gazing
can
here,
do right
but,
now until the fucking movie comes out. So
as far
it's
as the
fun to
web
guess.
shooter thing,
That's the whole part of the show.
Yeah. The web shooter thing, I think what it actually the most, it says Occam's razor with that stuff for me. Like you said, it's easier to add it than to remove it because you have to do a lot more work to remove it. I think some of the stuff they shot. Here's the other thing is too. It could have been the other way around because Marvel changes things up. Because that sequence when they first filmed it, might have been meant for a part of the movie where he did have web shooters, but then maybe now in the edit is changed up, and maybe it doesn't affect the movie's storyline enough. They just have to, for continuity's sake, remove the web shooters. I think he had the web shooters, or they shot him with the web shooters because that's what we expect from Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Always with the intent of removing the web shooters in post-production, except in one of the shots they didn't get a chance to remove it, and that's the kind of VFX shot where like, oh, we accidentally included the wrong version. And then Marvel's also been known to purposefully mislead viewers, and then for exactly the conversation that we are having to get this kind of theory baiting going on. So it could be a matter of all of those things happening. Marvel did it on purpose. They shot the stuff with the web shooters to misdirect the fans because they didn't want to give away that he's shooting, stuff organically before the trailer came out and the movie came out. Or, they just decided that, we have now changed things up from how we actually shot it. So, yeah, I personally love Andrew Garfield. I think he's my favorite Spider-Man of all time. I don't know, John, which one do you prefer? Good question, Figure.
For me, I think Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield was the best Spider-Man, and Tom Holland is okay at both. But
I agree.
We'll see where we are with Brand New Day.
Yeah. Also great stuff.
That's definitely a plausible theory.
Yeah, I think they got to get to that point where I think the world of the MCU, for the Mutant Saga to work as well as it should feel like the world of the MCU, the average man, the public.
Red herrings, those buggers.
The MCU public should come to sort of like hate or really not like the super powered beings, because that will feed into the X-Men narrative and give people like Magneto the motivation that they need and a reason to exist and have the mindset that they do. Because like, can you imagine Magneto existing in a world where there's a superhero in every 7-Eleven and then people just love superheroes? Like what like stuff. Motivation does Magneto have? Like they'd be like, sure, you can have an island, but
no, don't give Magneto an island. No, we can't do that again.
No, I'm just saying, like it's like you want to, like it would just make those X-Men characters hit a lot harder if the world of the MCU post Secret Wars doesn't like superheroes. But anyway. I think that's about it for the MCU weekly part of the show today. So we're gonna move on. John, let's walk through some movie talk madness, shall we? Maybe even run through some movie talk madness because we got a lot to get into. Right off the top, I just want to kind of set the stage for this. I'm gonna get your reaction to it. I saw this today in the world of Real. The original source for this is your favorite insider, the Insnider, Jeff Snyder. He was reporting, and the world of Real kind of picked up on it, saying that Michael B. Jordan's agents told him to not sign the deal for Miami Vice, the Joseph Kosinski reboot of the franchise, where Austin Butler would be playing opposite Michael B. Jordan in what is an Apple movie, or will be an Apple movie. And they were like, so basically Michael B. Jordan's representation was like, don't sign the deal until after the Oscars. If you win an Oscar, like obviously your price tag goes up. Like you can ask for a lot more money. And Michael B. Jordan did that. I mean, I think he did the smart thing. But now, post winning the Oscar for Best Actor at the at the Academy Awards,
where's my money?
He is literally saying exactly that. And his apparently asking price is now tripled.
Like, he fucking has the Oscar. Give him some fucking money. Like, dude, goddamn, bro.
He's asking for $18 million, which would be 3 times as much as what he was previously supposedly negotiating, according to Jeff Snyder. And that would be, the $18 million would be twice that of what Austin Butler is getting, supposedly. So you can do the math. Austin Butler is probably getting $9 million.
Get no Oscar for Elvis, so I'm just saying.
I mean, I think he's worth it, like you guys are saying in the chat, Tony, I think I agree with you guys. I think he's worth the 18 million. The only thing is, I mean, look, Apple's got money to throw around, but Miami Vice would have a big chunk of his budget, up to 50 million, going to Michael B. Jordan, Joseph Kaczynski, and Austin Butler. About 50 million if you add up all the salaries. If this 18 million were to be
I'm
counted,
just saying, if Universal
anything else
can spend shit tons of money on
President
Christopher Nolan, they can spend a little cashish on Joseph Kaczynski, which literally his last 2 movies got nominated for Best Picture. I think they can give him a little bit more cash. I'm just saying. Like, Universal has it. Like, they can do it. They can work with it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I said it was Apple. It's actually a Universal movie. But anyway, Apple is doing the Joseph Kaczynski UFO movie. I was confusing it with that. That's a different movie entirely. Busy man Joseph Kaczynski is. I think he's worth it too. But I mean, yeah, like you said, if they've spent the kind of money that they have on Christopher Nolan, I think there's this perception that what Christopher Nolan does, only Christopher Nolan can do. So even Universal might be thinking, yeah, maybe if this was a Sir President Christopher Nolan movie, we would do it. But I think it'd be worth it. It's like Figueroa is saying, he's a lost leader. As John said, he has the hardware now, leverage. And you look at his movies, dude, he's got the Creed movies. He's done the Black Panther movies, obviously now Sinners, and that's not even like some, all of his work. Like his portfolio is impressive, to say the least. I think he can, coming off an Oscar win and winning multiple other awards in the season, I think he can ask for it. Like Cillian Murphy was asking for a lot more money after winning his Oscar. Adrian Brody also, and Michael B. Jordan is a much bigger star than both of those actors. So, yeah, I think Universal can afford it. If it's 3 times as much, sure, but it's not like he's asking for 50 million. So I think it can work. But let's move on, because we do have to talk about a trailer now. John, I don't know if you got a chance to see this, but remember we got a teaser from Moana, the live action Moana movie that's meant to come out this year. So fresh off of Moana 2 in the animated form, they're doing a live action iteration of the first Moana. And the one thing
apparently they had the budget of like $3, and like 90% of that went to everything else, while like 1% went to the wig budget. Because literally, I could shave my beard, plaster that on the top of my head, and like glue it, and would probably have a better wig than whatever the flying fuck that thing is.
Dude, why don't you throw up those 2 pictures you sent me? Because those were great. But like the trailer itself, while you do that, the trailer itself to me was fun. It was a fun trailer in terms of, again, the iconic music and everything from the animated version. That wig is wild. Remember we talked about the set photos with Dwayne Johnson, I think last year when they were coming out. I thought like his makeup, his SFX makeup, like, and his body. Clearly, this Dwayne Johnson isn't as yoked as the Dwayne Johnson of 8-10 years ago, which is completely fine.
But you know what fucking
like, the bodysuit
looks like with a wig?
Pretty obvious.
He looks fucking like this. Like, honestly, John Cena looks better with a wig than...
I mean, and John Cena literally just walked on the set of Barbie, like, the day after, like, meeting Margot Robbie at a dinner and being like, I would love to be in there if they got something for me. And they're like, yeah, we got something for you. And then he just pops on set for a cameo, except, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is playing Maui in the entire movie. So, yeah, like, you sent me the Momoa poster. That looked pretty fun. Maybe Jason Momoa should have played Maui. I think that could have worked well. Yeah. Don't blame the wig, blame the Rock. Well, if you go back to the article for the trailer, I still thought it was a fun trailer. I just remember watching the first teaser and being like, it's very conspicuous that they only gave us like a half of a shot of Maui, and it clearly looked like one where you didn't get to see his face and he just sort of swashes by the screen. And then here you finally get to see it proper. You get to see Maui on screen. You get to hear Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Maui. John, what did you think about the trailer? Because to me, while the CGI or like while the look of Maui isn't entirely convincing, there's still plenty in this movie which made me smile. And then the songs are so iconic that first movie was a cultural phenomenon. I think, regardless of how bad the Maui look might be, at least on first glance, this is probably still a billion-dollar movie.
Yeah,
I still
probably.
think this movie will probably make all the money. Like, I don't care how The Rock, and the Rock is, charismatic enough. I'm like, where's the hairline in that? That wig is not looking good at all. I'm like, it just looks like somebody
Just you should have
plopped it
just
on
kept him
top.
bald. Like that's what
Yeah,
it really should have been.
it just would work better. Also, the bodysuit, it just looks like I mean, I'm not saying maybe he's not wearing a bodysuit, but the dude just doesn't look real. Like, it just, at least, well, that still doesn't do him any favors either. Um, I know, Caleb. Like, it doesn't need a remake. Like, this is the most egregious example of a Disney live action remake. They literally just put out the second Moana animated movie last year. Like, why is this coming out this year? Like, isn't this supposed to be like 10 years away or something? Yeah, but like Ron is saying, the hierarchy of the Moana verse is about to change. So but like I said, there's enough in the movie where I could definitely see this movie making a, maybe not a
Like
billion,
this
but maybe
movie
close to
doesn't
it.
feel real.
I
It looks like
know.
a 30
It's,
Rock parody.
or like an
Of
AI like recreation from like
no,
Sora
AI
or
would
that
look better.
ByteDance.
At least it would like get like it would have like anything they want. So I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
just like
to be
because
also
the
to
thing
be
is about
fair,
Maui's hair, it's very
yeah.
like vivacious, very like
Mm-hmm.
plump and fluffy. This
Mm-hmm.
clearly is just they grabbed a wig from fucking storage
It's
and
the
plopped it
bare
on his head,
minimum, yeah.
and they didn't even try. Like I get
No,
it.
the trailer's out, dude. This is the trailer. You go watch the trailer, Ron.
This is literally out. This is from the
yeah,
trailer. This was a screenshot from the trailer.
yeah.
So, it's
Hierarchy of shitty remakes. Um, yeah, this is too close to when the animated movie came out. Like, I feel like this movie should have. Yes, Ron, go watch the trailer. Uh, this movie probably should have come out 5 years from now. The other thing is, it's a bit of an impossible situation because I get it. Like, it's Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Why would he not play himself in the live action version of Maui? But yeah, he did do the Bambi sketch. But like, it's the appearance of Maui in the movie, the original animated movie, is so larger than life that it's hard to replicate that in live action, even with a literally real life superhero looking physique of Dwayne the Rock Johnson, right?
mhm.
Well, dude, I think they're already working on a Frozen remake, Ron. I think that's already in the works. It's not even like it's in the works. Um, yeah, but and they are making a third animated one too. Those are both in the works, but I feel like, how people made a little bit of made a some well, they made fun of Guy Ritchie's Aladdin, more specifically not the movie itself, but specifically the Will Smith genie character, because
Mhm.
he looked a little like the uncanny valley between, because he was clearly enhanced by CGI. Some of the shots were entirely CGI. But I feel like in this instance, that's what they needed to do. Like, I feel like we needed, you know, an animation enhanced, if not an entirely animated Maui in like photorealistic version that sort of looked like The Rock, but maybe not, not entirely. Now, I'm not asking for the Scorpion King, like in that monstrosity but I'm sure today's VFX with Disney's budget could have done better. Rikishi maybe 20 years ago could have done the role well, Tony, but Rikishi's also not the kind of not as good of an actor as The Rock. He does look like. I wonder if he does a stink face on one of the bad guys in the movie. But yeah, yep. Anyway, I just thought that, look, the trailer still to me is got enough that it will probably make a shit ton of money. Speaking of making a shit ton of money, John, prepare to get wet in your panties, all the ladies of the world, because Henry Cavill has healed up and rolled up to the Highlander set, and the set photos are making the world go wild for their look at the new Connor McLeod. Can we go over some of these photos, Sean? Because Henry Cavill, he's got what the kids called aura, and
Yes.
he may not be trying.
I mean,
but he is aura farming in these photos.
This is from Unboxed PhD, who usually does good behind the scenes stuff. We did get that Dave Bautista As Kurgan,
Oh, and
like
that look is pretty epic too.
That fight scene that when they were like being dropped on the cars, I remember us talking about that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, oof, there he is. What a man right there. Like,
what a man.
I feel like, you know what's interesting?
Mighty good man.
You know what's really interesting? I've found, like, I feel like more guys lust after this dude than women do.
You're
like
not
at
right.
this point, like, because the thing is, like out of all the women I've talked to, like, the only one who's who's been like, oh yeah, he's attractive is like my mom, which is like, okay, boom, that makes sense, like, fine. But like I've talked to like my sisters about him, they're like, oh yeah, he's nice, and I'm like, well, who do you like? Who's your top crush? Oh, Jesse Plemons. Motherfucker looks like a toe. The fuck you mean, Jesse Plemons?
She's probably talking about Jesse Plemons from his best movie, Battleship. You know, that's what she's.
Was he in that? I didn't even know.
He was in that. He was. Him and Rihanna were both in that movie.
It's just so weird to me because it's like, which I mean, I guess is nice because it's like Jesse Plemons. He's an average dude. Like he's very average, although happily married, all that stuff. So I guess that's nice for like more average guys like myself. But like, it's just like, but don't lie to yourself. This is like. I'd fucking be on my knees for this dude, and I'm not even gay. So it's like, you know, it's just like, come on. One, it's aura farming, yes, Caleb's favorite thing when it comes to Henry Cavill. But like, it's just a badass looking picture. Like honestly, okay. I don't know if you're much of a gamer, but chat, tell me if I'm wrong.
He's the nerd,
maybe he's a little bit too muscular for it, but specifically this outfit. Make him blonde, Leon Kennedy. Especially with Resident Evil Requiem that just came out, he's kind of given that vibe. Not gonna lie, with the outfit, So guys, gamers in the chat, let me know if I'm like, imagine him blonde, maybe a little bit more average toned.
Not wrong.
Okay, Tony's not giving it to me. Okay, never mind.
Well, but keep going, John, because like
Anyway, sorry.
Liz would be just fawning all over these photos. We got to send this to Liz. I mean, come on, watching these photos.
Like literally, they got a fucking picture of his bulge, like right there.
Come on, it's right there. It's right there. Bulge watch. Come on, gotta appreciate the bulge. Believe in the bulge, everybody. Believe in the bulge. Yeah. Whoa, John. Whoa. Whoa. Caleb is calling you out.
That's true. I think he would. I think like toned wise, he would make a better Chris Redfield. I was just talking about the outfit because that's something like Leon would wear. So like,
if you scroll up for a moment, because I'm like, you go back to that like look when he's looking up there on the street. I don't know if you can click into that photo, but I'm like, this is, yeah, he could be Neo. He could easily be my Kingdom Come Superman again. Like if that's bring him back.
You know what? He kind of it looks like
like,
when Tom Welling went through his like emo phase on Smallville and he had the trench coat. That kind of reminds me of that. But like, duh,
exactly.
Smallville Superman, duh.
I mean, we thought we would have the return of Bulge watch this summer, but it's too early.
Thank you for giving it to me. Bam.
Yep.
Zod, yes, kind of Zod-ish vibes, a little bit.
I see it. Very cool. Yeah, believe in the Highlander Bulge, everybody. Bulge Watch has returned a bit earlier than we expected because Man of Tomorrow hasn't started filming yet. But here we are, indeed. And this is not the last time we'll be talking about Henry Cavill on the show today. Hint, hint. John Vicious, Cavill would give it to him.
X gonna give it to you. There you go. Anyway, let's click on the other images.
You said giving it to you.
Hey, here's the thing. Normally, I'd say yes. Okay, here's the thing. Normally, I'd say yes, but I'm not a home wrecker, all right? He's happily married. He has a kid. I'm not going to mess with that, okay? If he was single, sure. But I'm not a home wrecker, all right? I'm better than that, all right? I don't want him to cheat on his lovely wife, okay?
Yeah. I was going to give it to you, indeed. Yeah. Well, yeah, speaking of X. DC Daily Zack said, no, actually, Tony, I won't give it away. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is like definitely in the
Mm.
case of like pause face. That he looks definitely a little
That's a
weird
pause
there,
face.
but
Yeah. Yeah. There he is. That's a better one. Yeah. Yep. All right. I mean, I'm excited. Like these set photos are doing all the right things for like building up the hype.
well, doing all
this
the right
movie.
things, Dan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, let's move on because the Highlander photos are great.
All right, now
But
that
you
we're
know
hot
what's
and
even
horny,
better?
now time to get dry. Time to get like whatever the 180 of horny is sober. I don't know because now we got Star Wars to talk about. Now
Flaccid?
now
I
we're
don't know.
going from wet ass pussy to Ben Shapiro's wife. Okay, so like
Whoa.
we're going from
Whoa.
wet to dry. Okay, so
Hi,
because now we're
Anthony.
talking about Star Wars. So
Well, there's a new
I
ad spot
don't
that came
care
out.
how. Don't be ageist, okay? Just because he's 41 doesn't make him any less attractive. Just saying.
He thinks
You
he's
know?
too old for Bond. I'm like, give me Henry Cavill as James Bond. I'll take it. I'll take it. John Statham would make a great Batman. Yeah, I'm sure
No,
he would.
wouldn't, because he's
like,
not a good
he's like,
actor.
can
Like,
you
maybe
no?
a
But can you
stunt
imagine?
double.
Wait, can you imagine like how he would sound like if he says when he says I'm Batman? He was like,
Boy, I'm Batman.
Oh, I'm
Boy,
Batman.
bruv, I'm Batman. Give me a bottle of water.
So swear to me. I don't know how he would.
Swear to me.
Swear to me.
Look at me. Swear to me. He's not the man because he's not human. Can't say that.
I love Grogu. I have a Grogu thing.
I'm
like,
with
again,
Caleb.
like,
Fuck Grogu. Grogu deserves the hate. Get out of here. I hope he gets nuked by the end of the movie. That would be a happy ending for all. Hashtag kill Grogu. Let's go. Start the hashtag,
Come
folks.
Come on. Jason Statham with that accent as Batman would be pretty epic, though. I gotta.
Honestly,
I'm just imagining it.
I think like maybe like 30, 40 years from now, he would be a good Alfred. Not gonna lie.
He would be. And you would know that he's got the resume. It's like, Andy Serkis. I'm like, Andy Serkis as Alfred beat up a few dudes and, kicked some asses, took some names back in the day. But I mean, dude, this Mandalorian and Grogu TV spot, it was good to see because it gives us that live action debut of a species in Star Wars lore that we haven't seen before, John, which I thought was interesting. I think they were in the Clone Wars. Can you go scroll down? I mean, I forget how I'm forgetting how to pronounce the name of this species. The Enzalans, the Enzalans. You get to see them in here. So if you're a fan of deep cut Star Wars stuff, I mean, if you're a fan, I love Clone Wars. So getting to see a return to some of those characters again. Whether this movie is good or not, it certainly looks like the kind of movie that a lot of Star Wars fans are going to go watch because they just keep ratcheting up the again, all the connections for all the ways in which Starfighter may not connect to the rest of the Star Wars lore. This movie feels like it will. So yeah, I don't know, John, if you saw this or not. I thought it was funny. I thought it was entertaining. They also have been talking a lot about how Din Djarin will be helmetless for more of this movie than he has been in the TV show. And then it looks like a portion of the movie he gets kidnapped and therefore we probably will get to see Grogu kind of running around on his own a lot more, which will be interesting to see the least. Looks like action figure. Oh, sorry. Hey. My cat is yeah. Hello. Deep cuts. Yes, indeed. Deep cuts. Are you guys fans of the Enzalans? Let me know in the chat. I'm excited for this movie, regardless of the bumpy ride that the marketing campaign has been. I know, John, you're not as big of a fan, so I guess I will leave it there for now. I just thought this was interesting because we didn't know that those creatures were going to be in this film, and they're pretty darn cute. So that with Grogu, I think works well. Yeah, getting the Rebels gang back together. Dave Filoni's in charge, everybody. So yeah. You know what? That would be a great idea, figure drawing. My Kingdom for the director of Predator Badlands. Yep. He could do a great job with this. But hey, they already got like 5 other movies that are in the pipeline. So we'll work those out first. This could be badass. Who knows? Maybe Mandalorian and Grogu will have some badass sequences. I don't know. I mean, the first Mandalorian season was exactly that. That's why people love the show, because it was badass. And I think it's kind of lost a bit of its edge since by season 3. So I think the goal here would be to maybe restore some of that sheen onto the Mandalorian and Grogu, you know, to his Beskarian armor, you know, some of the sheen that's been lost. Hey, Steven, that sounds nice. Cottage cheese and mangoes. I want some mangoes right now. That would be epic. But hey, John, we got to keep on moving. I think we got to get back to some Project Hail Mary talk, don't you? Or at least to the directors of Project Hail Mary, because Lord and Miller were recently doing some interviews about Project Hail Mary, and they let it slip that they still have some strong feelings about what was once upon a time a Flash movie that they developed that eventually
God,
got
it would have been
scrapped.
so much fucking better. It would have been so much fucking I could like guarantee, oh my God, it would have been so good. So good. Like literally every director they had before Andy Muschietti was like Seth Graham Smith, Goldstein and Daly, Lord and Miller, all would have been so much better. Honestly, this makes me want to do like a Flash director fan cast Friday
Ooh.
if they ever bring him back, because like I have like 10
We're gonna
off the
put up a
top of my
poll for
head.
that like tomorrow, so maybe we should have that as an option.
Yeah,
Should
I'll
definitely have
write
as an
that
option.
down. I'll write that into the.
Yeah. No, Tony, I'd rather not have the mangoes that are rotting in your kitchen. I want some fresh mangoes. But John, this is what you know, Phil Lord, Christopher Miller said in
I
that
don't
interview
hate
that
Andy
they recently
Muschietti as a
did.
director. I just don't think he would be. He was good for Flash. To be fair, it was a bit of a higher job, and I don't think he's good for
He was.
Batman. But that's just my opinion.
I think all things considered, he did a decent job, because like for just coming in as a director for hire, made some weird decisions, you know, with the VFX and stuff. But yeah, Lord and Miller does sound like a law firm. Well, this particular director duo, they were talking on the Happy Sad Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz, and when they were talking about that Flash movie, they said we had a very elaborate treatment that we really liked. Pretty different than what ended up. It's a good idea that I'm afraid to not be able to use someday. So John, Lord and Miller seem to still really love their version of the Flash movie, and they still would love to make it a reality. I believe the early days of when James Gunn and Peter Safran signed up for DC Studios, we were talking about how wouldn't it be great if Lord and Miller, once they're done with the Spider-Verse franchise, walk over to the House of DC and maybe make a few things there. They were attached to the Flash movie once upon a time. Do you think that this could be a possibility, because they will be, you know, obviously rebooting the Flash as well as part of the DCU?
I think that would be great. Because they have confirmed that the Flash, at least Wally West, is in this version. So I think it would be awesome for them to have like at least transfer some of those ideas that were that they couldn't showcase in that movie in the Flash movie they eventually do, because I think Flash is definitely, because Andy Muschietti was definitely talking out of it. Oh, nobody really cares about the Flash. It's like, bro, he had a fucking show for 9 seasons. People love the Flash. It's just like people didn't like your shitty movie. That's the thing. So, you know, it's I don't know. I just think it's like, what do you have to lose at this point? Like, you know, fuck it. Just like Flash is popular enough. Like maybe let some time pass, but like I think by like 2030, just greenlight it if the DCU is still here. So just fucking do it, because these are great directors. Literally, Project Hail Mary proves that they can come back from a 12-year hiatus, during that time get unceremoniously fired, and then make what many consider is the best movie of the year, one of the best sci-fi movies in decades, and has the money, critical, and audience approval to back it up. So it's like, fuck it. Why not?
I mean, look, it's, if I was James Gunn, like Tony Randall is saying in the chat, like, call him up. It's like, we love comics, you love comics, you want to come work with us? We got DC Studios, the Flash, we got to make a new Flash movie, Lord Miller. You just did Project Hail Mary. I'm pretty sure, you know, David Ellison or David Zaslav would love to have you, and make it happen. Make it happen. Neighborhood. No, she's my cat. Tony, she's my cat. Yeah. There's actually have 2. Only one of them walks on the tables. No, but I would if I was James Gunn, I seriously would be giving them a call and being like, let's, you guys want to work together, like, or Peter Safran, because James Gunn's busy making Man of Tomorrow. Maybe he should give them a call, because they're gonna be hot commodities between this and then, of course, the next Spider-Verse movie. John, speaking of which, let's talk about that. Uh, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller might be the most sought after director duo.
Oh, Dan,
Oh, I'm back.
you
Hello.
kind of crashed out a little bit. You
Oh,
good?
I was just saying, Lord and Miller would be the most sought after director duo because Project Hail Mary, Beyond the Spider-Verse. So, I mean, your thoughts? Like, tell us what, because they were talking about not just the Flash, but also they gave us a bit of an update on Beyond the Spider-Verse as well.
Well, they did get an offer for, a live action version. I think they were offered like Spider-Man Homecoming, but they had to not do it because I think they were getting ready to do Solo at that point. So that I think they had to turn it down. I think the same thing happened for The Flash because that was supposed to come out in 2018, same year as Solo. So they had to essentially say no to both of those to do Solo, and then they got fired from Solo, which was a shame. But yeah, so it's definitely yeah, it's definitely interesting. We are still on schedule for next June in terms of Beyond. It's going great. The story's coming along great. The animation is beautiful. And we ported some interesting stuff over from Project Hail Mary. That digital pre-shoot that we did with Greg Fraser. We are doing that methodology for the camera work with DP Alice Brooks, and she's been doing an amazing job. It's revolutionizing how we can get the camera work to be super inventive and natural feeling. Most emotional of the three movies. Things are moving, and then they do also touched on Spider Noir, confirming that Nick Cage is going to play Ben Reilly like a spider pretending to be a person. And if that isn't the most Nick Cage way of explaining how he does a role, I don't know what is.
Spider pretending to be a person. It's very different from how Tom Holland probably thinks about playing Peter Parker, but yeah, I mean, as far as what they're saying about, to me, this look, clearly they're saying we're still on track for 2027 release of
Yep.
Beyond the Spider-Verse, at which point that will be the last movie that they will be directly involved in. But they're saying the story ends there. Like, so whatever spin-offs happen from that point forward will be spin-offs. They won't be continuing Miles Morales' story directly. But what stuck out to me the most was the Greg Fraser thing. Greg Fraser, man, like on an all-time run. He just did Project Hail Mary, and I believe he's involved on he's on Dune, right?
Mhm.
And of course he did the Batman. I mean, he's not doing the Batman part 2, but like it's that's when he's just gone from being like Game of Thrones to one of the most sought after movie cinematographers in working today. But yeah, there's a lot of Spider-Man content this year. We haven't even talked about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That's another show. Speaking of, Your Friendly Neighborhood superhero, Anthony. But yeah, this is fun. I'm excited to see more stuff from Phil Lord and Christopher Miller in general. Now, all we need, John, is for them to be like, it's happening, everybody. Jenko is back. We're getting the crew back together. We're going to Korean Jesus across the street. It's gonna be time for 23 Jump Street. That's all we need. That's all I'm asking for. They could even make a like meta joke about how like why am I forgetting his name right now? He's in why are you always blank on his name? Jonah Hill. Like, how he's gone through like a whole body transformation. They could make a joke, a meta joke about that anyway. And then Channing Tatum, they could build in like some of that Magic Mike meta commentary into it all. I want a 23 Jump Street.
Yo, I need those back. What do you need these for? I'm working.
I gotta wait. I'm working after the show. I gotta work. Like it's he is a different person. Yes, completely Jonah Hill. I mean, yeah. You know what? I do wish that there was more Batman news, but figure drawing, we can't ask for everything. But we can ask for more Spider-Man news, John. Walk us through this one. Sinister Six apparently, there's more to it because, like I said, it's a Project Hail Mary kind of day. And while we just talked about Lord and Miller, the directors of the movie, talking about their other projects, including a lot of Spider-Man, the writer of Project Hail Mary, Drew Goddard, he left some pretty high-profile work that he was doing before to go work on a Sinister Six movie. I mean, I forget what was the project that he was working on at the time. I think he left a Netflix Daredevil at the time to go work on Sinister Six. And well, ultimately that never happened. That Sinister Six would have involved Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. But if you could just walk us through what he said here.
Reading that.
Because he was interviewing about, of course, Project Hail Mary, but of course in the process he got asked about the Sinister Six movie that never happened. And this is what he had to say.
He said, I want it to feel like a summer annual. I feel like I'm tired of serialization in comic book movies. I get the important part. What I loved was the summer annual where you had the ongoing, but then every summer you would get one story that was bananas. I said, when I pitched it, I'm not going to screw up anyone's continuity, but I want to feel like, oh my God, what happened? That was the feeling that I wanted to get. I still haven't seen anyone capture that. I'm not giving up. I got to get a summer annual. It was a Spider-Man movie. That's the other thing I'll tell you. Spider-Man was in the movie, but it was a different approach. I do remember this vaguely, that it was not necessarily going to have Andrew Garfield. Like, it could have worked as a soft reboot where they could have gotten another actor, and then if that did well, then they could stick with that actor for future movies, because Andrew Garfield was getting kind of old, so they could have like just stuck with that guy. Or they could have had Andrew Garfield come. I do remember that. Like, I do remember where it was gonna be from the POV of the Sinister. Like, I don't know if this, like, how much of this is true or not. Where it's gonna be the POV of the Sinister Six, and Spider-Man was like never gonna show up as Peter Parker because he's just Spider-Man, because he's just fighting the Sinister Six. It would be from their point of view, and it would just be, fighting Spider-Man, but Spider-Man was gonna be an antagonist. So, that would have been shit happens. They, like, I was just saying, Lord and Miller had to deny Spider-Man Homecoming and The Flash to go do Solo, and that never happened either. Well, their version never happened. So shit happens. It's the movie industry.
I mean, they've learned from their mistakes clearly, and what they're doing today. And but like Drew Goddard too, there was also this idea that Sony clearly pivoted heavily with Amazing Spider-Man 2. Dude, I love the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but I will say that movie was so heavy on the setup for a Sinister Six that at the like, for example, the Green Goblin stuff in the third act of that movie did not need to be there. It made almost no sense. Like, they could have just stuck with introducing Harry Osborn and just let it be. We didn't need him to go all the way crazy.
You know what I would have liked to see? Like, so, I understand you want to do the death of Gwen Stacy, but like, just have it, like, save that for another movie. Fine. What they should have done is they should have had the transformation of Green Goblin be a post-credit scene. Then have that to be the hook for Spider-Man 3. Then you can have, like, and then what you could do with Spider-Man 3, like, have this whole movie, blah, 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 and then end it with Gwen Stacy dying, and then, like, Spider-Man retires. Like, boom, he ends his reign as Spider-Man, and then, like, maybe, like, you could set up Miles Morales, you could not, but dude, like, he retires as Spider-Man. Stays retired, not like, oh, and then I'm gonna come back because my dad spoke to me in a cemetery, or I get inspired. Which got cut
again,
out, so
because that got cut out. Also, they actually cut out a Felicity Jones who played Felicia
Mary
Hardy
Jane,
in the movie
because they thought it was too much, like, or whatever.
Well, they cut out the whole. What was her name? What's her name? Well, no, Shailene Woodley was playing MJ. Yep. All of those scenes were cut. And then Felicity Jones, who's in the movie for a scene or two, playing Felicia Hardy, like the assistant to Harry Osborn, she had an extra scene or two that was gonna, lead her. What's her superhero persona? Is she Black Cat? Felicia Hardy? Am I thinking of the wrong? Like, there was a scene that was meant to sort of hint at, like, oh, she's gonna become a hero, like some kind of character, a superpowered character as well, that they cut out. So, for all the stuff we did get, ultimately they still were, cutting. They left out a bunch of stuff, that never made it. I don't know. It was gonna be hard for me to imagine seeing that continuity without Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, because at the time when they announced the Sinister Six movie, they had announced a third and a fourth Amazing Spider-Man movie. But clearly, like, like we've talked about before, the second one not doing as well, and then in conjunction with the whole, scandal, like, and the FBI raid and the email controversy, a lot of things got killed along the way, and Sony kind of got desperate to, like, looking for a quick fix, and then in their mind the safest bet was go with the MCU. And then so they went over to Kevin Feige, signed the deal. Tom Holland became a new Spider-Man, and the rest is history. So yeah, I still would have loved to see more Andrew Garfield. And Drew Goddard. I mean, like, they could, at least they had Drew Goddard writing and directing the movie. It's a far cry from the shitty writers and directors they got for Madam Web and Craven the Hunter and Morbius. Like, it's like, of all the terrible projects they put out, I would have liked to see a Drew Goddard Sinister Six. I think it would have been a better option than everything else that we did get. But you guys let us know in the comments what you think about that, because yeah, a lot of Project Hail Mary, a lot of Spider-Man on today's show. But we move on now from movie talk madness, and we get into TV talk terror. John, I don't know if the terror is the right word to describe this, but the trailer for Dutton Ranch, the latest spin-off of Yellowstone, featuring, of course, Beth and Rip back together again. It's got a release date, and they gave us what they're calling in the Hollywood Reporter an explosive first look. A bunch of stills got released, and they actually put out a trailer. I saw the trailer. It plays to this modified version of Till I Collapse, the Eminem song, and that to me was the best part of it, because like, I'm not all caught up on the mythos of this franchise, but the show, I feel like the show could serve as a good entry point, because the trailer convinced me for sure. I mean, Kelly Riley, Cole Hauser were two of the most popular, played the two most popular characters in the show, especially once Kevin Costner left. But like, between Marshall's getting renewed for season 2 and doing incredibly well on CBS, and then now this, they're gonna milk Taylor Sheridan for as much as they can while they still have him, and that's not for very much longer.
When is he going to, the shit fucks down the street?
So, well, his movie deal, I think, has already moved this year, and then his TV deal moves in 2029. I think the beginning of 2029, because it runs till 2028. So when the calendar turns to 2029. So until then, I mean, obviously the Mayor of Kingstown is coming to an end. That the Madison, which is the Michelle Pfeiffer, Kurt Russell show, which is also Taylor Sheridan written, that they already shot 2 seasons of it, and I think they might be considering renewing it for a third. He's still doing the Call of Duty movie, for Paramount. Look, I think he will probably all of these shows, I don't think will die out when he leaves. I think within the contract that he's got with Universal, there's got to be a clause where he's able to continue working on pre-existing franchises with his old employer. And yeah, I mean, between this, Marshall's, and then what they got planned, I think there's at least 1 or 2 other planned ones. Remember, there's a 1940 something show that's a sequel to 1923, 1944, I think. So that's going to be another Paramount Plus one. So they got at least 1 or 2 others in this franchise, shows that are in the works. So yeah, I mean, Paramount Plus is still the house that Taylor Sheridan built. And so I don't think this trailer was fun. It was fun to watch. I was surprised how much it felt like for a teaser trailer that this could be a good entry point for somebody who hasn't seen all of Yellowstone. And yeah, Tulsa King, I think, is still ongoing as well. That's another Taylor Sheridan show. That's the Sylvester Stallone one. John, did you watch this trailer? Do you care for what this is? A Dutton Ranch?
I mean, not really. It's whatever to me. I don't really care about the Yellowstone universe all that much. But I mean, my parents, they watched Tulsa King. I think my dad watches Mayor of Kingstown and Landman. They tried to get into Yellowstone. They couldn't get into it. They did watch 1923. Yeah. I think they might be watching 1883. I don't remember. But they are like kind of into the idea of Yellowstone, so that's their thing. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this couple is like very dysfunctional, and yet somehow it works, like, is always the vibe that I got. So yeah, but the trailer was fun. The trailer was fun and enjoyable, and if to me, as somebody who's way behind on the mythos on the show, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. Probably need to catch up a bit, but I got time. And of course, as far as the release date for this goes, it is releasing later this year. Let me see if I can find you guys a specific date. In case you are interested in watching Dutton Ranch, you should be able to watch Marshall's right now. It airs on CBS, and then you can stream it on Paramount Plus the next day. But the 2-episode premiere of Dutton Ranch will be on May the 14th. It will air on Paramount Plus, and then it will start airing on Paramount Network beginning May the 15th at 8 p.m. with the 2 episodes. So they're basically going to be dropping it on Paramount Plus first, and then the next day on Paramount Network. So I guess it's the opposite of Marshall's with CBS. It's got a 9-episode first season, so with a 2-episode premiere, you're going to get to see it for 8 weeks total. Or sorry, 7... No, yeah, 8 weeks total. Of course, it's show run by Chad Feehan, and you know, Taylor Sheridan, of course, is one of the producers on the show. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, most of his shows. I love the Lioness. I think Lioness is my favorite Taylor Sheridan show. But yeah, let's keep going. TV Talk Terror, John. Speaking of terror, it looks like Paramount Plus and CBS Studios were so terrified by the mixed reception of Starfleet Academy that it became the latest Star Trek show to get canceled.
Yeah,
they've already
crazy.
just wrapped.
Imagine making Star Trek like fucking One Tree Hill. Wow. And it sucked? Crazy.
I mean, they just wrapped on season 2 production, and it looks like that's it for the show. There's not going to be a season 3.
And nothing of value was lost
at that point. So, I mean, Holly Hunter's in the show. Tatiana Maslany had a guest starring role. They also bring back Robert Picardo from, you know, 90s Star Trek, from Voyager days. I love them in Stargate Atlantis as well. He's a great sci-fi. I think he was also in Firefly. He's a great sci-fi, you know, actor who's been in all the big ones. But Starfleet Academy, this show, but in the timeline of the show, it takes place after Discovery in a newly reestablished Starfleet Academy, so not really in the same timeline as the Kirk era. But I mean, none of the new Star Trek TV shows have gone less than 3 seasons. Star Trek Picard ran for 3, so this is really, you know, I mean, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds is going to run for, I think, at least 4, if not 5 seasons. They're already like 2 seasons ahead in terms of filming. Season 3 or 4 drops this year, I think. So like Strange New Worlds is going to carry the baton for a couple of more years at least. But we know that Paramount is working on a new Star Trek movie. But as far as Alex Kurtzman, who's been, you know, through Secret Hideout, his production company, he's been doing all of these Star Trek TV shows in what started out as a CBS All Access, now Paramount Plus era of Star Trek on TV. His current deal with CBS Studios runs out at the end of this year, 2026, but they're in talks to extend him. So maybe they're not making any announcements for more shows until that deal is re-upped. Or maybe they're going to go in a different direction. I don't know. But Strange New Worlds is ending in a couple of seasons. We know this show is now going to end after the second season. Mm-hmm. Discovery already finished. There's a Star Trek New Recruits show, I think. It's like an animated show that runs on YouTube, actually. I don't know how long that's going to last. So we might be getting to a point where they might just let these shows all sort of find their conclusion, at least, you know, whatever conclusion they have for Starfleet Academy for season 2, and then Strange New Worlds when that comes to an end. And then, you know, they might start fresh. Or, you know, it's just a matter of like giving Alex Kurtzman a new contract, and then they start greenlighting any new projects. Because if his deal runs out at the end of this year, until you got, you know, pen to paper on a new deal, you don't want to announce anything that he's going to be involved in, and then he won't be working for you. So I get it. Yeah, Renegades, that's what it is. There's the one on YouTube. Thank you. I was thinking of the wrong one. But yeah, I mean, Star Trek, like I've had mixed feelings about Starfleet Academy. I really enjoyed Picard. Season 2 was weird. Discovery was great to mediocre at times. Strange New Worlds is probably my favorite of this era. I would like to see more shows that sort of like chart new territory. Discovery did a little bit of that and moved to the future after season 2, like 1,000 years into the future. But I kind of want to see more of that, like, you know, uplifting Star Trek that Strange New Worlds sort of brought
like
a little bit.
Project Hail Mary.
So, yes, exactly.
Honestly,
exactly.
Get rid of Alex Kurtzman. Lord and Miller take over the Star Trek universe.
Please. Oh, please, Lord and Miller are our saviors. Please, Lord. He's literally in the word. The
Praise
name,
be.
Lord and Miller. Praise be to our Lord and
Praise
Miller.
be.
Save
Honestly,
us.
could you imagine?
Yes.
Like they just
Star-
do a bunch of
yeah,
space
Lord
operas.
Rex.
A Lord and Miller directed fucking Star Trek movie written by
Now
Drew Goddard.
that
I don't know if Drew Goddard could
would
do
be
like Star
peak.
Trek. I mean, I'm sure he could, but like
He could do it.
Paramount, make it happen.
Don't tease me,
David
John.
Ellison, I
Don't
know you're
tease me.
allergic to good ideas because you fucking canceled Last Ronin, but like, please.
I'm telling you, it's a Project Hail Mary kind of day. They're just coming into every conversation. Don't you worry. That's not the last time they
Or
mentioned them.
have it written by Terry Matalas. That would be good.
Yes. Bring
And
him back.
You know what?
After Vision Quest.
Here. I have it right here. Lord and Miller presents. Well, not presents because that's more the production company, but like Lord and Miller directed Star Trek, written by Terry Matalas and Ronald D. Moore.
Mm.
Billy, baby.
Oh.
Billy.
Now you're making me wet in the nether regions. Damn, dude. I would love to see that.
I'm telling you.
Didn't Ronald D. Moore get his start in Star Trek back in the 80s? Am I missing? Yes, he did. Yes.
He did I don't know if
yes.
it was I don't know if he was there at the beginning, but he was at least there in the 90s. So
I think
like,
it was the latter half for sure.
Like
yeah.
it would be late 80s if it was.
Yes.
He would be like
Back
there
up a Brinks
89 at
truck.
the most, but it would mainly 90s.
Yeah.
I think he was the one that wrote that first like
it's a good idea.
Like Picard driven character episode. I think that was Ronald D. Moore, and I think that was his first episode because I remember watching the Star Trek Next Generation documentary years ago, and I remember Ronald D. Moore was like having like a lot of trouble like trying to offer this to Roddenberry, who was like you know going crazy at that point because he was so old that he's just like like he was just being like old man yells at cloud at that point. Because he was just so sick of how like people were treating Star Trek, which is fine. Like I understand that, but I remember like Ronald D. Moore was like trying to, because at this point Gene Roddenberry was like so against character stuff because like we're not allowing character stuff. We can't have character stuff because he's like, I want everyone to be like bland and boring because it's like, oh, this is the future. There's not supposed to be emotion and shit, and like. And Ronald D. Moore was like trying to pitch this idea, and he's like, no. And then finally, when Gene Roddenberry was, you know, finally was like not pushed out, but when he like finally, I think he died of dementia actually. But when he was finally like retired, Ronald D. Moore was finally able to do this episode. When
Happy birthday, movie spud, by the way.
Happy birthday. When you know, Next Gen was on that kick of like, you know, seasons 3 to 5, which were like some of the best Star Trek of all time, not just of that show, of like period. I think Ronald D. Moore was finally able to like write that episode for Picard, and it was like one of the best I don't know the name of the episode. I think that was his. I could be wrong on that. But Heart Attack. Okay, thank you, Tony. But yeah, I think that's what it was. I could be but I remember Ronald D. Moore was like pushing like a character driven episode, and Gene Roddenberry went nuts. He's like, no, we're not supposed to have character episodes because he's like, that's not how I envisioned Star Trek to be. So yeah, I do remember watching that. But yeah, Ronald D. Moore, Terry Matalas written, and then Lord and Miller directed. That would be amazing. Happy birthday, movies, bud.
Happy birthday.
Anyway.
And yeah, I mean Paramount Plus is a great place to. I watch a lot of times I watch Paramount Plus. I just go back and watch TNG. Still works.
But I know a lot of people like still have like because like Deep Space Nine was so different.
Oh yeah.
And it was that was kind of like a lot of people. I have this whole thing like comparing Star Wars and Star Trek. Maybe I'll get into it another time because we're already past.
It's so
we're already past. No, not in like a very like surface level kind of way. Not like obviously very different franchises. Like very I'm just talking about like how how it like kind of is. But I kind of compared again on a very like surface level description that like Deep Space Nine kind of was like the Empire Strikes Back of the Star Trek universe, because like Empire Strikes Back introduced all these much darker ideas. And that's kind of like what Deep Space Nine was like, of course, like much darker than like the optimistic future stuff of like Star Trek and Star Trek Next Generation. So it was kind of like the Empire Strikes Back, where it was like, oh, okay, this is
Thematically,
what
right.
like, and this is like kind of like those darker like kind of ideas that like could be presented in this, you know, world. So that's, I always kind of compare that and like Next Gen were kind of like Empire Strikes Back's like the best what Next Gen is for a lot of people, and then but also Deep Space Nine because that like those darker themes that you know
Yeah.
that Deep Space Nine would be famous for. So
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I agree with you. That's a great comparison to be made.
I
We
could
could
I
do a
could
long
get into my
conversation
little
about
weird
that.
Star Trek thing if you want me to.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, we need to make that a bigger conversation. but
we can
not
make it
today,
another
but
thing,
yeah.
but like I do have like I'll
Yeah.
explain it to you after we're done, and then I
Yeah.
could like reintroduce it into the show if you
Yeah.
want me to.
But you know what, PLO,
But anyway.
speaking of which, just watching Voyager on Paramount Plus. Dude, I started doing a rewatch on Voyager like months ago, and I just kind of like fell behind as in like I got busy with other stuff. So I need to get back into that again because that's it's not, I still think TNG to me is the best of that era, but like, you know, it's 80s to 90s. There's certain writing sins that they do by that era of Star Trek by Voyager, but still Voyager is by and large one of the better shows that they've ever put out. So yeah, I respect people who like DS9 more than TNG, but TNG is goated. Figure drawing, I'm in the same boat as you. But anyway, let's keep on going. As far as Star Trek goes, of course, Starfleet Academy Season 2 is the last one. And once Strange New World ends in a couple of years, then, you know, what else do we have? And so as Star Trek fans out there, much like the two of us on screen here and you guys in the chat, we're all wondering the same thing. Liz too. Where are we gonna get our next Star Trek fix from once these shows are done? Season 7. Okay, PLO, that's awesome, man. Keep it up. Let us know what you think about it once you're through the whole show. But in the meantime, we're gonna move on from TV Talk Terror. Now we gotta get into the quicker part of news before we get to DCU Daily, John. So gonna hit that Bossa Nova elevator music. Let's walk us through some quickets, shall we?
So apparently the Punisher special presentation runtime has been revealed and is Frank Castle in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. With that, apparently the listing on Disney Plus has confirmed that it will be a 60-minute runtime, which I said a lot of people thought it was going to be 45 minutes. But no, it's 60 minutes, which is about roughly an episode, which is what this special. I'm so glad they brought back the special presentations because that's such a neat idea where it's like just so perfect. Like these smaller characters, like imagine like a Nova Corps like special presentation, and then if it does well,
like that project
a lot of people
is in
like
development
it,
hell.
Maybe you can experiment with a movie or a mini series, like maybe then a mini series, and then maybe a big movie. Like that would be great. James Gunn, take notes. Anyway,
yeah, Werewolf by Night's running time was 53 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit longer. It's definitely a lot longer than the Guardians holiday special, which was 42 minutes. So
yeah,
it's good. I like it.
But it seems as though
John, you saw Werewolf by Night, no?
I didn't.
Oh,
I have not. Like it's one of those things where I'm like, I need to watch that. Same with the holiday special. I'm like, I need to watch that. I know I'll like it, but I just haven't gotten the time to do it. Like I've just been so busy. So I have so many other shows to watch too, but I'll try to make some time. Like I couldn't even get to a fucking Nolan movie this weekend. I feel so bad. I'm gonna be watching The Following tomorrow. Not The Following, just Following, because I know for a fact that's the one Nolan movie you haven't seen. So I'm like, okay, I'll watch that one. It's short. It's only like 70 minutes, and I'm curious about it to see how like he's gone with his things. Yeah, I know. No, don't worry. I will try to watch Werewolf by Night. I'll try to watch the holiday special. I'm not even gonna wait for the holidays at this point. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just watch it. Because it's just like Kevin Bacon is like he's timeless, so it's fine.
yeah. I mean,
but
he
anyway,
was in the Guardians holiday special.
But with that, he's not gonna appear in season 2. So
yeah. He's busy enough between that and Brand New Day, so
and like getting yeeted by Spider-Man, which probably made Garth Ennis cry and piss his pants. So like, you know,
I watched Insomnia years ago, so I might actually try to watch that before tomorrow's show to refresh my memory. But yeah, let's keep going.
We also get a little bit of the Shadowlands suit.
Ooh,
yeah.
More hints.
But next up, speaking of Paramount, apparently Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery combined will control 40% of acquired TV viewing on streaming. But yes, David Ellison, please tell me about how Netflix owning Warner Brothers is going to be a monopoly.
there's a chart. Can you scroll down?
Yeah.
And this is pretty big because when they say acquired TV, that means shows that are produced by what will be all the combined studios of Paramount and Warner Brothers. They would account for 42% of the viewings. That's almost 50%. Disney's the next closest with 29%. And in terms of minutes viewed, that's 184 billion minutes compared to 126 for Disney. Then you got all the others, you know, then you got Universal, Sony, Lionsgate, AMC even having the smallest share. So acquired TV shows, by the way, are shows that, like, if they make a show and they license it to another platform, like Abbott Elementary is made by Warner Brothers, airs on ABC. They also make a bunch of shows for Netflix. I mean, Big Bang Theory still streams, you know, and that's a archive show that was made by Warner Brothers. Paramount made a bunch of shows that are streaming on other streaming services. Warner Brothers has licensed a lot of HBO shows to Netflix as well. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna have an outsized presence in the market for almost 50%, 42% of the shows that are acquired shows that are not made by the streaming services to stream on are made by Paramount Warner Brothers. That's a big deal. Like you said, John, they're gonna have a big influence. I mean, yes, they may not be a monopoly in certain ways, but this is one way you can make an argument that, you know, this new company may be monopolizing TV in our current landscape. So yeah, let's keep on going. Oh, I think you're muted, by the way. No, you're muted. John, you're muted. John, we can't hear you. Nope. Unmute. We can't. You're muted, man. You gotta fix your audio.
Oh, okay. I fucking unmuted. The thing didn't register.
We missed all of that.
Anyway,
okay, go
Peaky
ahead.
Blinders. You can fucking read it on the screen. I'm not repeating myself. There you go. You can read it.
Well, no, the thing here was, if you, I think in the description, Stephen Knight was talking about how, well, the Peaky Blinders thing is one thing, but yeah, we figured it out. He was mentioning how
we're good. Hang on.
How the Bond script is coming along quite well, and
I'll fucking get the actual. I'm sorry that I didn't want my fucking Facebook to be doxxed. All right, Jesus Christ.
It's all good. Yeah.
Hang on a sec.
I hear you, MTG, with the whole monopoly argument. I think in both situations, Netflix or Warner or Paramount, we were going to end up with a new mega company that would have a monopoly over certain aspects of the business. Hello to D-Ross. How are you doing, Marco? Yeah, Peaky Blinders, that new movies, I think, isn't that out now on Netflix? You guys tell me, is it out? Like the
it's been out. It came out March 6th. Anyway,
so
there we go.
But I mean, Stephen Knight wrote that, and he's working on the next Bond movie. But he was asked about, you know, that Bond film for Amazon, and he teased an update on the franchise's future, saying it is coming soon. Yes, depends on what you mean by soon, he said. But yeah, things are moving along quite nicely. So it looks like things are going well with him writing the movie. Denis Villeneuve is busy in post-production on Dune, so I'm sure they'll, you know, chat up a lot more, yeah, once that's done. So yeah, good for Bond fans, I guess. You know, a new movie is in the works. Stephen Knight and Denis Villeneuve is about as good of a talented duo as you could have hired from Amazon side. So I'm like, you know what, they might actually turn in something good. So we'll see. But let's keep on going.
Yes, let's keep on keeping on.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Kirsten Dunst, well, she's making that money on Minecraft 2. She's doing, real movies with Housemaid's Secret. Kirsten Dunst joined Sydney Sweeney in Lionsgate sequel. So
I would say there's 2 more great reasons to watch that movie, but you know what? I already had 2 plenty good reasons to see it, and now we just get Kirsten Dunst.
Honestly, I would say there's 6 great reasons. Amanda Seyfried ain't no chump. I'm just saying.
No, you're not wrong at all. I mean, and yeah, she's the anti Will Smith from the 2010s. She's doing all sequels.
I mean,
now.
it is based on a book series. I think there's 4 books, maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me look that up.
I mean, Brendan Sklenar, I think, is meant to be back.
Okay, so there's only
Sydney
3
Sweeney
for right now. Housemaid was 2022. Housemaid's Secret is 2023, and The Housemaid is Watching in 2024.
Ooh.
So it is a trilogy. So
those could all be porn parody names, but let's keep going.
some of my eyes, sorry. But next up,
Kristen Dunst. Good going.
And then you have assholes on the internet being racist because, of course, Harry Potter
This was
series
disturbing.
star Papa Isiadu, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says he received death threats over Snape casting. I've been told, quit or I'll murder you. Yep.
That's so I'm like, really? Like,
Straight up.
really?
You want to know something even more fucked up? My friend,
Like,
he recently saw the new Scream movie and he liked it. Most people didn't, and that's fine. If you liked it, whatever. If you like a movie, it's fine. He got fucking death threats over liking a movie.
I don't get
how
it.
fucking
Like,
stupid can you be? Like, what? Like, how pathetic can you be? There was another time I was talking with this guy, like, I remember this was like a couple of years ago. I don't know if you know the guy, but ProZD, he's a YouTuber. He's Korean American, and he said something stupid a couple of years ago where he's like, "Oh, I think voice actors like should stay in their lane. Like white people shouldn't voice like ethnic characters." And I don't think that personally. I don't believe that's true. But like, if you believe that, that's fine. I agree to disagree. But he said that. I don't agree with him. And then I moved on. And then somebody posted like, "Oh yeah, if I had, you know, this guy, ProZD in a room and 2 bullets in my gun, I'd shoot this guy twice." And I'm like, if that was a joke, that's not funny. And second, you're an idiot. And then I said, like, really, you're wishing death upon someone because you disagree with him? And then I was like, then this other guy replied to me, like, had this whole diatribe of like, yeah, I'd fucking beat the shit out of him because of what he said. And I'm like, you'd really commit a hate crime over someone who disagreed with you? He's like, yes, I don't care if it's racist. And I'm like, are you fucking for real right now? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
People need to just
People need a
calm
healthy
down.
dose of reality is what they fucking
It's just
need. Like, bruh.
You know, like, speaking of staying in your lane, don't watch the show. You got the movies, you got the books. Like, it's just there's no reason. If you don't like it, don't watch it. That's all you gotta do. Like, and then enough people don't watch it, they won't make any more of it. Like, you know, like, that's all it is. It's pretty simple, everybody. Like, we don't. This is just disturbing that the actor's like, I'm getting told.
You know
like,
what? You know what I
or I'll
do?
murder.
You know what I do, Dan? I think of that quote
so
from Mike Tyson where he's like, you know, a lot of people are walking around saying dumb shit and are used to saying dumb shit and not getting punched in the fucking face for it. We should bring that back. And I'm not saying like go out assaulting people on the street. I'm not saying that. But like if your friend says dumb shit in the privacy of your own home, I would say deck him. I'm just saying, like, maybe he'll stop saying dumb shit then. Like, just give him a black eye.
Or maybe
it's
that
fine.
doesn't. Or maybe they don't need to be your friend anymore. At
Or
that
just
point.
not
You
be
know,
your
it's
friend.
Like,
Like, that's.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if it's your friend, someone who's not your friend,
yeah.
just like fucking give him a deck to the face. Like, sometimes these motherfuckers just. Physical violence is like the only thing they respond to. Clearly, because they think disagreeing with someone warrants a hate crime or death. So, you know.
Yeah, look, I sincerely hope that Papa Isidu
I hope he's okay mentally.
Like
just like I would
and
say,
he's not the only one. Like remember
no,
Barry
Keoghan
Keoghan we talked about the other day?
Tran, fucking who played Jar Jar Binks? Ahmed Best, like
yes,
you know.
I mean, and then even Barry. Look, we talked about Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill he's very shy. He's very introverted. Like despite like the characters that he plays.
To be fair, Jonah Hill's kind of known for being an asshole, but that's beside the point.
But he was like, look, he stopped doing marketing because he just wasn't comfortable. Anyway, but the other thing is more recently, Barry Keoghan talked about how people making fun of his appearance really got to him at some point. He doesn't want to do these promotional tours anymore, and it's just have the proper etiquette and like you know John's saying, just learn to manage. It's just you don't need to impose your opinion.
No. I wouldn't say it's fandoms.
It's not a fandom thing. It's just
it's individual people that seem louder than they actually are, and that's separate. I would say for all fucking casting directors or even regular directors watching, I would say immediately fucking tell people in a thing that you know is going to be controversial, where it's a race thing, a queer thing, a sex thing, as in like the gender, like male, female, race, whatever, hell, even creed at this point, like just be like, you know what, after you get officially cast, private or deactivate and or delete, if you are willing to do that, all social media. Because at this point, it's just not fucking worth it. Like, if you, like, this is fucking movies and TV shows. You shouldn't sacrifice your mental health because some people are safe behind a keyboard telling people to off themselves.
But I feel like, the problem, like, it's sort of that I agree with, I think that would be a good way to go about it, but it's still like, it shouldn't get to that point. We shouldn't,
like, but the thing is, you have to take those steps now because of fucking dickheads like this.
It is racism in this instance, particularly.
Yeah,
it's just
straight up, bro.
It's kind of like if I got a job and then somebody told me, like, if you show up to work tomorrow, I'll kill you. Like, that's what this feels like. Like, it's a safety concern, and on top of, like, many, like, not just when you're working, but also when you're walking, because you're a public figure, So I genuinely hope that Papa Esidu has been able to, find some solace in, like, his other co-workers, his other
colleagues,
actors,
the friends and family around him.
Yeah.
It's just people suck.
Like,
bro.
it's a TV show, everybody. Just enjoy it.
It's entertainment.
You never know. It might even blow your mind with how good it is, and then there's not. We have to learn to live. These books will get adapted again, decades into the future, and they have every right to reinvent it for the time. And regardless of whether it's a decision for, like, oh, we're gonna update it for the times, or they just wanted to cast a different actor.
I mean, the only, like, the farthest thing I said,
but you don't have to threaten the actor.
I'm just curious how they're gonna make, like, I hope it's like they make Hogwarts a little bit more diverse, because it would be real fucking awkward if it's revealed in the 6th season that, like, James Potter was bullying the only black kid at Hogwarts, and I'm like, let's try to not do that.
I mean, they had
awkward as hell.
They did have a couple black kids. I hear you though. They could use more diversity.
I hope that they do have better reasoning, at least in the first season, because, like, the whole basis of, like, Harry not trusting Snape is that he looked suspicious. Let's think of a better reasoning, because if you're like, let's look at the only black teacher and say he looks suspicious, it's like, Harry, what do you mean by that, bro? What do you mean by that? What do you mean he looks suspicious? What do you think, he's stealing potion equipment? Like, what do you think, bro?
We don't want to get into those.
I'm sure they've thought of that, so it's just like, maybe he does something, like, and it's like, oh my god, he did this crazy thing, and that's why I think he's hopefully gonna kill me or something. So
again, I think that's the kind of nuance I think the reason why they're gonna have, it's not a 2-hour movie, it's a TV show, so hopefully they can build.
It's gonna be at least an 8-episode TV series, so you're gonna have 8 hours to flesh that out.
Anyway, let's keep going with quick hits.
But anyway, let's move on to bigger and better things, and by bigger and better things, we mean Michelle Rodriguez family. Richard Gere, airplane thriller Left Seat Moving Ahead with Germany shoot. The contained feature centers on a woman who must take control of a small plane after the pilot falls unconscious. Okay, that's interesting.
I don't have friends. I got family.
She's going from Cars to plane.
Yeah, and then back to Cars for Fast Forever. But
yeah.
It's Richard Gere from Chicago. Yeah, let's go. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the trailer for it. Airplane thriller? Yeah, count me in.
Shogun adds 5 to season 2 cast of FX drama. Series production is underway. Cool. Nice. I still need to watch season 1.
One of these actors, the second one from the right, I think was in the last season of the Squid Games as well. I don't recognize most of them, but
these are Risei Kukuhara, Ryo Sato, Sashiro Nishida, Mentoro Koichi,
I recognize,
and Takashi Yamaguchi.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I can't wait. Season 2 is already in production. I can't wait.
God damn it, Flo. Damn it, Flo. God, that's an old fucking meme. Get out of here. Anyway. Next up, hey look, Blade is never happening, right guys? Mahershala Ali joins Mark Ruffalo in season 2 of Task at HBO. Hey, he's keeping himself busy while Blade never happens, so
I was just like, I read the Mahershala Ali joins Mark Ruffalo, and I was like, oh, Task season 2, got it, on HBO. So not not gonna be Blade times the Hulk in anything.
Yeah, no, Blade is never fucking happening. Let's just get that perfectly. I think Mahershala would be great for it, but at this point, just do an old man Logan-esque, with Wesley Snipes, and you're good.
That's the only way we're gonna get Blade and Hulk together on screen is for HBO. Yeah, cool.
Yep. Anyway, Jason Reitman, Ian Shore team for supernatural thriller 71 Minutes at Sony. Shore spec strip scared up a frenzy among producers. That's nice. Cool.
I've heard that the spec script market is as hot as it's been in decades of late. So I mean, Paramount spent a ton of money on one, or a couple actually. And,
I had a feeling that the project is described as a real-time thriller about a man who needs to elude his pursuers in a ticking clock scenario and only has 71 minutes until the sun rises to do so. So yeah, I think it definitely has Running Man vibes a little bit,
but they could do it differently. Yeah.
They could do honestly, they could do a Running Man-esque thing. They could do it 24. They could do a lot of different things with it. They could do kind of I mean, I feel like real-time stuff is kind of kicking off again because the Pit is huge. That's even though that's not an action show,
but it's kind of brought that
still real time, So I think that kind of works. Yeah. So yeah, I love Jason Reitman. I loved I mean, Thank You for Smoking, Ghostbusters Afterlife, all that. So I think I think this would be awesome.
I mean, there was a show on Netflix about a sci-fi dystopian future where something happens and then now basically a virus spreads where if you get caught in the sun you die. And so it's a Dutch show, I think, and then there's a bunch of people on a plane. They have to literally keep flying in the other direction from so that they can keep in the darkness, because a plane can fly fast enough to get ahead of the sun, obviously, around the rotation of the earth. And that lasted a couple of seasons. It just sounds a little bit similar to that, the supernatural nature of it, at least. So yeah, but anyway, let's keep going.
Anyway, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 2 wraps filming in June. It's releasing on HBO in 2027. Wow, it's actually gonna have yearly seasons. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Also, a lot of this show was shot practically in Ireland, and people loved the look of it. Whereas, of course, House of the Dragon, a lot of it is shot at the Warner Brothers studio Leavesden, and they use a lot of VFX for the extensions of the scene.
Yeah.
This show just looked real in camera, and I just loved the look of it. And it was huge. I didn't think anybody thought it was going to be as popular as it ended up being. So,
yeah, because I think it's because it's kind of going off of the idea of hope core. It's just hey, this himbo wants to become a knight, and it's wholesome in a way. He had this relationship with this kid, and the only thing bad that came out of it was Ozymandias is now at a 9.5 on IMDb. But outside of that, it's honestly, this was the closest I've ever come to watching Game of Thrones material. I would watch this show,
lot of people,
but I'm out of spite. I don't want to, but especially because Game of Thrones fans did to Breaking Bad, so now I don't want to watch it, but I did consider watching it at one point.
Yeah, I mean, the House of the Dragon has been taking 3 years between seasons, Severance to an Apple. I would like to see more shows do this. Slow Horse, they film 2 seasons at a time. They don't miss a year. I mean, that's a great example.
Only Murders in the Building comes out yearly.
Does it? I feel like they had a gap though between it. Oh well, maybe they did. Related.
But I'm just saying, it's not fucking Wednesday where it was 5 years between the first and last season, or Stranger Things where it took a decade to make 5 seasons.
The kids literally grew up grew out of their roles. But anyway, yeah. I mean, dude, we went from dad bod to 8-pack, David Harbour over the course of that show.
Yeah, because he fucking did Hellboy and fucking Thunderbolts and shit like that.
Well, there was a new House of the Dragon coming out this year, but then the next season probably will be after 5 seasons of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So there we go. Yeah, nobody wants to take 20 years to finish a 5-season show. They didn't even do 22
speaking
episodes.
Of taking 20 years to do something, Jennifer's Body writer Diablo Cody confirms Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried are on board for long-awaited sequel. Ew.
Yeah, the writer was talking about, I'm indeed working on a script, because last year I think Amanda Seyfried did an interview and talked about how the writer was working on something, so now we just get confirmation. Yes, indeed.
Honestly, I have never liked a single Diablo Cody written movie. I didn't like Juno. Lisa Frankenstein was okay. I didn't like young adult. Like, I feel like I just don't like her writing, so I'm probably gonna stay away from this. But I mean, a lot. There's a lot of fans.
I don't know who asked
a
for it.
lot of people who are fans of this. So, I mean,
I'm sure
I can't,
there's some.
But here's the thing: I
reasons,
can't imagine
so.
Megan Fox coming back. She fucking died at the end of the movie. Like,
I know. Well, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. But yeah, exactly.
Jennifer,
King's
the
Port
person in the title is dead. So is it gonna be?
Yeah.
You know.
How do you make a sequel?
Because like the whole thing is like spoiler alert, but like Amanda Seyfried then becomes the succubus. So like that was like, how are they gonna continue that? Like fucking 20? Is she still a succubus demon? Like 20 years later? Like, I don't know how you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep going. We'll move.
Anywho, and then now we're back to greatness. Keith David, thank God. There's cryptic response when asked if his voice can be heard in Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, and all he said about it was, "We know it was you,
emoji.
Keith. We know it was you, and it was all the better for it because Keith David is God. Why? Who is God, and why is his name Keith David?
Good point.
But." You know, I think that if he was actually that voice, which he was, I just, oh God, you know, and just like, I don't know if they are actually going to introduce Venom. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. Maybe they're going to do Black Suit Spider-Man. I don't know. I'm just going to say this. I don't know what his actual role in this. I don't know if he's just a narrator for a documentary in the movie. I don't know if it was just for the trailer. I don't know. I'm just going to say this. Please, we no longer have Tony Todd. He has unfortunately left this mortal coil. The next best thing that you can do is get Mr. Motherfucking Keith David to voice the Venom symbiote in a future Spider-Man movie. Please make it happen. We all want it. It would be legendary. Give it to me whenever you do Venom. If you do Venom. Just do that, please, and give it.
Venom.
Maybe like, you know, maybe at some point, you know, maybe Keith David has an actual character and Peter Parker is starting to lose his vision again. Like he has to put on glasses, and then Keith David comes up to him. He's like, "Oh, put on the glasses if you can't see," and then they live. Funny.
Anyway.
I know, because the thing is, you gotta pick a great voice, and Keith David has an awesome fucking voice. God damn it, now I want to watch The Thing again. Fuck. Not like I needed a reason, but like, you know.
I mean, look, it's popular. The people want
Lawrence
it.
Fishburne already plays Goliath in the MCU. So
That's true. That's true. Kind of forgot about that.
Well,
but yeah.
no longer superhero version of Goliath, but
Right.
yes.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it would be fucking legendary. Anyway, but yeah, Keith David was very coy, which of course he has to be, but you know. But next we have
so
Tom
I
can
thought
keep
this was
going.
curious. Because remember you mentioned the other day, well, not the other day, you mentioned literally earlier in the show something about like comparing Tom Holland Spider-Man to Andrew Garfield. I was going to mention at the time that literally the age at which Andrew Garfield started out being Spider-Man is where Tom Holland is today.
Or where Tobey Maguire was in the second movie.
Yeah,
So-
it's just, there's lots of room for Tom Holland to grow. Like, yeah, he can go for another 3, 4, 5 movies if they want him. So, yeah, he's only 29. Andrew Garfield started at 29, and Tobey didn't get to that age until he was in the second movie. So yeah. Anyway, let's keep. I mean, I hope that they give us a fourth Andrew Garfield appearance somewhere. We can get a short end of the stick. Yeah.
But speaking of that, Timothée Chalamet, his Marty Supreme sets streaming debut. It is going to begin streaming April 24th. I know on HBO Max. I know it's cool to hate Timothée Chalamet. I know it's cool to hate Marty Supreme, but I do recommend the movie, guys. If you have not seen it, I do. When it hits April 24th, please go watch it. It is actually great. I know it didn't win anything. I know it's cool to hate on the guy, but like there are people who watch this movie like, I hated Timothée Chalamet before watching this movie. I didn't think he was talented. Then they watch it, they're like, oh shit.
I mean, then it might be the movie for me, because I definitely am in that camp.
And don't get me wrong, I get it. Josh Safdie, he is a fucking human piece of garbage. I get it. I 100% get it. But this was also a really great movie.
Well, it's gonna be streaming soon, so as easy as it gets. Watch it at home on your couch if you need to. But I might be one of those people, so yeah, we'll see.
I can understand that, but like, there are times where it's like the glazing is warranted, and I do think for this movie the glazing was warranted.
Yeah.
I do agree. Sinners was probably a better movie, but I personally liked Marty Supreme more. But that's just me. I don't know why it just hit for me because I think it's because I didn't expect anything from it. Sinners had a higher bar for me. I didn't expect anything from Marty Supreme. I expected a lot from Sinners, and it met those expectations. I expected little from Marty Supreme, and it exceeded those expectations. I think that's why I prefer it, but that's just me.
Yeah. Ballet and opera aside, good movie.
And speaking of glazing, our boy here.
Project Hail Mary, baby. You can make your own 3D model of this spaceman. It's
unfortunately it's not made of xenonite, but it's plastic. Next best thing, right?
Yeah, that's something that I'm sure Andy Weir looked into how possible that was, but that's great.
I think this thing is broken. Smashes it on the table.
Xenite is a metal. Like the aliens are real. Nothing makes sense. It's like great. We hope you enjoyed Project Hail Mary, Ron. We glazed it for a full hour on the show today. And that's after doing a whole hour of it last week. But this model, you can actually, if you go to the Project Hail Mary movie website, you can download the specs to print your own 3D spaceman.
Crazy how marketing is evolving, yeah.
Yeah, this is very clever. It's not Rocky, it's the spaceman model that he makes. That's basically meant to be the human spaceman, like Ryland Grace from the movie that Rocky makes, because Rocky's an engineer. So, yeah. But anyway, this looks, it deserves its glazing. Absolutely, it does that. PLO. Hit that like button while you guys
more
are here,
glazing, and somebody did a very nice picture of it. So, hell yeah.
This is great fan art. Love it. Would love to use this in a thumbnail one day. Great.
Hope maxed. Yeah.
Yes.
And then next up, 3 iconic directors, 3 iconic music composers, 3 iconic cast. Which of these 3 upcoming blockbuster movies are you most excited for? It's
all
tough.
Of them?
Like, that is tough. Like, honestly.
Okay. If this is a fuck
I know you're gonna
situation,
say the Odyssey. Shut the fuck up, Dan.
Well, no. If it's okay, never mind. All right, go ahead.
If I had to pick, probably Disclosure Day, because I probably love Steven Spielberg the most out of these directors, and the fact he's coming back to Aliens is awesome. However, like, I want to see what. Like, here's the thing: John Williams, legend, has earned the title. I'm not saying, however.
Dude, they're 3 of the goats in both of their categories.
This dude has won 3 Academy Awards for 3 amazing scores. He's still relatively young, well, at least compared to John Williams and Hans Zimmer.
He's half
only
his age.
40, but
he's less than half his age.
So I'm excited. Like, what new things can he do despite being a 3-time Oscar winner? So that's the thing I'm excited for. Not saying I'm not excited for the Odyssey. I am very much excited for the Odyssey. But I would say out of all of these is probably Disclosure Day, Incumbent, and then what Ludwig Göransson has for the Odyssey. And then Dune, I'm just very excited for. But that would be the ranking. Not saying I'm not excited for Dune Messiah, Dune Part 3, whatever. But we are eating so good right now. I mean, those are 3 of the best directors working today, and 3 of the best of all time. And then you got 3 of the best composers working today, and 3 of the best of all time. Not to mention the stellar, absolutely top-notch A-list, cast that they've got across there. Some of them having the same actors twice, because, for example, Florence Pugh is going to be in both Dune and the Odyssey. So she's going to have probably
biggest single
and then,
weekend of any actor ever.
You know,
outside of the Avengers
Zendaya
movie.
is gonna be in the Odyssey and Dune Messiah.
And Dune Messiah, yeah. I mean, wow. I mean, to me, the movie I'm most excited about between those three is the Odyssey. The movie that I think will make the most money is probably Dune Part 3. And then the movie I think could be the biggest breakout hit of the summer is Disclosure Day. I love alien movies. That is right in my wheelhouse. I love Spielberg alien movies. Wow, that is so much fun. I can't wait. You know what? The fans win. At the end of the day, we get to see all three movies, so that's amazing. 2026. They could all be billion-dollar films, by the way, all three of them. So, and Spider-Man this year. I mean, yeah, Zendaya is gonna be potentially three of the biggest movies of the year. That doesn't even include Doomsday. I mean, if she shows up in Doomsday as a cameo, can you imagine? Anyway, let's go. Let's keep on keeping on.
This fucking thing.
Dude, the algorithm got me again. It's the same channel too. This is like another version of the. What is this? Is this the TIE Fighter bed?
Yeah.
Not the TIE Fighter, the Starfighter bed. Starfighter bed. The X-Fighter bed. I don't like. Dude, the best part about this, there's a vibe check thing. Look at that. There's a vibe control. There's a vibe control. I'm like, what? I'm sure that vibe control was meant for something different than what we can call vibe control today. But wow. I'm sure if you got one of these, your wife loves you. So,
Oh.
The X-Fighter bed. Like, this is hilarious. What was it that we were looking at the other day? The Jet Maverick
the Maverick bed.
The Maverick bed? Yeah, this is great. I'm just like the algorithm just like clocking me for some reason. Oof, 80s commercials were a different vibe. Speaking of vibe control.
I mean, it's not real. They're all AI, but you know, it's still funny.
It's hilarious. I love it. I can't wait to like, you know, manifest that stuff into reality one day. Probably not a good idea for my relationship future, but you know, anyway. You guys are still talking about the more important things, you know, Nolan versus Spielberg versus Villeneuve. So, yeah. Gold Leader sleeping in. Gold Leader sleeping in. I'm going after him. I don't think I'm gonna make it. And you just blow up and like, oh, that was a dream. Okay, well, I'm up. Let's go about our business. Okay. Well, speaking of going about our business, I think we're gonna call it for the news. But that doesn't mean we're done yet, John, because the ride ain't over yet. And we're about to get into DCU Daily proper. We got a few more things to talk about before we wrap up for the night. Because it's been a long show. But we're just getting to the good stuff. So stick around because it's time. It's DC time.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Hey.
Welcome to another episode of DCU Daily proper. Of course, we got to get into a bunch of stuff. Superman, Absolute Universe, Supergirl. We got some Batman talk to get into. And, well, it's going to be interesting talking about the Supergirl budget because I would like to not get into a deep philosophical argument. But you know what? It will be an interesting DCU Daily. John, which of the topics are you most excited to talk about?
I am excited to talk about things. Yeah. I'm just trying to talk about the absolute universe. Like that's good stuff. That's usually safe.
There's actually a lot of that, like, in today's show. But I guess we'll start off with a bit of a throwback, John, because remember once upon a time there was a Green Arrow. No, I'm not talking about the Arrowverse Stephen Amell Green Arrow, but the one from Smallville, Justin Hartley, who these days is on the show Tracker on CBS. I think he was recently being interviewed about it, and he made it clear that he would love to return in the role of Green Arrow, except in the DCU this time. Would you like to see that? Like, is that something that you'd be a fan of?
I think he didn't have an it's one of those things where it's like oh, Grant Gustin. Yeah, I think he deserves another chance. He did have 9 seasons, but I think it would be I'd like to see him in like something good, since the show wasn't good after like the second season. Just, I think would it be nice? Maybe, but like I think there are other better actors. Like, I'm not gonna say, because the thing is about like Grant Gustin, he's so good. He was so good in that role even when the show was bad. Like, a lot of people see him as like the be all and end all Flash. Nobody's really saying that about Justin Hartley. No offense to the guy. Like, he was good. He was good for the time, but like he's not like, oh yeah, I need to see Justin Hartley again as Green Arrow. Would it be cool? Sure. But it's not like, oh yeah, give this to me yesterday kind of thing. Like, I'd love to see Grant again in better material. Justin Hartley, he was in a cute show 20 years ago. That's kind of the most.
Yeah, also, I mean, he's got better acting credits now. He's got quite the extensive portfolio, Tracker, and he's in a couple other shows before that. So he's, I'm sure, somebody they might consider. But again, he also said he would like to have a more of a hipper costume, in his words. So I guess, well, if there was to be a new Green Arrow in the DCU, I'm sure the casting process would be extensive. And, if he wants to throw his hat in the ring, then why not? But I don't know if it's very likely. So... But let's move on with the Parrots, Ducks, and Pelicans of DCU News, the DC Crickets.
Yeah. Next up, Superman officially claims new code name and costume in historic lore upheaval. Yeah, before you rant and go crazy, it's his son. It's fucking John Kent, like, being a little fucking brat.
Because in the comics lately, they've both been Superman, like Clark.
Yeah, kind of like how Wally and Barry were both the Flash. Yeah. So he's like, now he's gonna go by Tomorrow Man. Because he's like, I'm a fuck. I get what they're. Okay, here's the thing. I get what they're doing. Like, it's interesting how they're going about this, because it's like, I get, like, they're going about the way of like, can Superman be like redone in the modern age with different circumstances of birth? Because technically, John Kent was born on Earth. He is technically, he's Kryptonian only by blood. He is not a real Kryptonian. He was born on Earth. He had different parents, obviously, and he was born in a modern context. And so he's not going to act like Kal-El, Clark Kent, Superman. He's going to be different. Obviously, he's going to go for a more modernized kind of vibe. So, of course, he's like going to be like, I don't do this. I'm fuck the old ways. I'm gonna do my own thing. Like, kind of like what Miles Morales is doing in Across the Spider-Verse, but not nearly as well written, because it's written by Dan Slott and not, actually people who can write, like the Lord and Miller. So, it's like, I'm gonna defy history. I'm gonna write my own story. But like, the way it's come now, I don't know. Maybe the run is fucking phenomenal. I don't know. But the way it's going about it, like, it's a good premise, it's a good idea, but it feels like the execution is faulty. And it just feels weird to me. Like, he's kind of acting like Superboy Prime a little bit, who's, I don't want to be part of this universe. I'm evil. So, like, it's like, insert Chris O'Donnell nostalgia critic whining here.
The chicks dig the car.
Like that kind of vibe. That's what this is. It's not coming off as like, I don't want this legacy. I am going to do what I need to do. It's coming off as like a whiny teenager, and that's essentially what he is. He's better than fucking Tom King, but that's not saying much. So it just comes across as like just being a whiny little shit. and apparently he's going to be called Tomorrow Man.
That's so bad.
And
What the
it's just
fuck?
like, which, by the way, is technically already a character. I'm pretty sure. What was it? No, I think I'm thinking of Tony Tomorrow or something like some. There's a character already named, I think, like Tomorrow Man or something like that. So like, I get what they're doing. It's just like it feels like the execution is wrong, because like I could be like I could see the idea. I accept your premise, but the execution is faulty. Like, because it's not coming off as someone who's like, I'm doing something differently from my legacy. It's coming off as, it's not a phase, Mom. That's exactly what it's coming on. It's not a phase. I'm gonna be Tomorrow Man. I don't want to be Superman. That's what it's coming across as. But like, what? Thank you. But so like, decent premise, very faulty execution is what I'm gathering from this. I haven't read it, so maybe it's better like over the course of many issues. But it's just like, it feels kind of weird to me, and it just feels like this is just a clickbaity headline, and they're just kind of doing this because they can. I don't know. It just feels weird. Feels weird. Sorry. But not in like a good way. It just feels a little dumb, and again, not good writing stance. So yeah, it's coming off as, I don't want to be Superman, Mom. But it's like, it's a shame because the premise is really good. It's like the idea of a Superman not under Superman's proper actions, and how does that work? How does that? But it's just like, because it's like, you don't have baby rocketing to Earth, being adopted by the all-American couple who instilled correct values in him, and he becomes that. And especially that was born from an idea in the late 1930s. So this is just like, it's like, okay, can you replicate that? And it seems like he's not able to, even though his father is literally of those values. But it just comes off as, it's like, I'm in my emo phase kind of shit, and that's like, kind of lame. But that's just how it is. But anyway, before we spend too much time on this, let's move on. And Henry Cavill can't shake off that Superman aura. Highlander set photos are trending, as we just talked about before. But what others see versus what DC fans just see isn't the same. And however, I go to this gentleman's meme because that's more accurate. Yeah. Snyderverse is dead. No, actually, hold on. Let me do the meme proper. Snyderverse is dead. Deal with it. Okay, so yeah. But yeah. So Highlander, people are like, he's still my Superman, and I'm like, cry about it some more. Anyway, next up, Tom Taylor, the good Tom comic writer. But the dynamic trio, we're bringing Green Arrow and Black Canary to Gotham this Wednesday, and Detective Comics says comics, but he said Comics by accident. 1107, a tragedy in Batman and Ollie and Dinah's past, comes back to haunt them in a very unexpected way. Art by the Pete Woods, and variant cover by Osguri Ladrium. I don't know how to pronounce that. And then he responded to his own tweet. Yes, that's right. This #1 New York Times bestselling author and multi-award winning playwright and screenwriter just wrote Detective Comics. We all have those days, Tom. We all have those days. It's A-okay. Ministry of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was Sean Connery, the movie that made him retire. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare was the Henry Cavill film. Anyway, next up, apparently it is, well, at least recently it was Wonder Woman's birthday, released on recently, whether it was this date or another date, in 1940, I want to say. I think 1940 was the year. 1941 was around that time. But yeah. Yes, Tom Taylor is a good Tom. He has hit and misses, but I've read some of Tom Taylor's work, and he's the good Tom. You know, Kal-El, no, but we're celebrating Wonder Woman, not just okay, not just Wonder Woman's birthday, but happy birthday, Wonder Woman. She's 1940. I think that's what it was. Hang on, let me look it up. Yeah, there we go. Come on. 1941 in All Star Comics number 8. So that's when she was revealed. Nice. Yeah, no shit. She was a 1941 character. But anyway, now we move on to more Absolute Universe stuff. So here is the actually, you know what? Let me get the because this is Absolute Wonder Woman number 19 cover art by Ivan Talavera. So obviously badass as all hell. You can even see a little bit of cheek there. But yeah, I do like the design of this one. I think this is probably definitely one of the best variant covers I've seen of the Absolute Universe. The Poison Ivy one was really good. That first issue of Lemire's Flash was really, really good. I love the surrealness of the Martian Manhunter run. Well, today's Monday. Well, now it's Tuesday, but Monday initially when we did it, not Fancast Friday. So, technically, you are incorrect because Kathy Lee Crosby was the first live-action Wonder Woman, but the pilot was not picked up. Then they reshot it with Linda Carter. So you are incorrect, sir. Anyway, anywho, Talavera has a lot of sick covers. Yeah, this is really good. But then we have another one, which for Absolute Superman. Try not to get mad, Caleb. But by Juan Ferreira, whatever. This is honestly really cool because I know it's like kind of like more of like a living thing going on. Like it's like kind of I will say I do like the logo of Absolute Superman. I'm not I brought in technically in this bitch because you got to do being technical. Okay, the ones that made it, yes, but she still counts as a Wonder Woman because they were actually going off of the comics at the time where Wonder Woman didn't have her powers and she didn't have her Wonder Woman outfit when she was being trained by I Ching, which was like towards the end of the Silver Age and into the Bronze Age. This was like when Themyscira went into like its own pocket universe or whatever the fuck. And in order to save Themyscira, so then Wonder Woman lost her powers, so she had to be trained in martial arts. So they tried to do like a new thing for a couple of years, and it didn't work. But that iteration got adapted into the Kathy Lee Crosby version, and then it wasn't picked. It was like more of like a spy show, kind of like a Avengers type show, not comic book Avengers, as in British spy show Avengers, where it was like kind of like that a little bit, but it didn't work. And then so they're like, okay, let's just go with the traditional like Golden Age, Silver Age version, and that's when they brought Linda Carter in for all new Wonder Woman. So there's that. Yes, it's not the brick logo. Yeah, okay. No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I think this is definitely a cool cover. I know we hate Absolute Superman. Well, I don't hate it because I haven't read it, but yes, Karate Diana. That is exactly what it was. Emma Peel. That's who I was thinking of. Yes, Emma Peel. I couldn't think of the fucking character, but yes, it was Emma Peel. That's who I was thinking of. Anyway, Diana Rigg. Love her, but R.I.P. Now we move on. Next up, in DC's Absolute Universe, Catwoman is Batman, according to Scott Snyder. DC's Absolute Catwoman makes Selena Kyle rich, ruthless, and more Batman than ever. DC's Absolute Universe has excelled by turning DC's most popular characters on their head, losing the extraneous barnacles that have built up over the 20th century, and instead remaking them from their core out to what they would be, what they should be in the 21st century. And with that, he says this: Absolute Catwoman is a high-end, big secrets, higher stakes Catwoman that we've never seen before, says Snyder's co-writer Che Grayson in a Comics Magazine and Warner article. My two references were Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible and the gritty, hardcore Elizabeth Salander type character from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That's when Nick came back with the designs for her, and it was just amazing. Just seeing the new design in the helmet and everything, things just continued to spark. Scott's motto is always, in this universe, Selina is Batman. In the absolute DC universe, Selina Kyle is a thief you've always known her as, but she's also got that Bruce Wayne wealth. Not absolute Bruce Wayne, but the original. And it opens doors for Selina to be the fullest version of herself to fight the adversary she still sees in the world. So I feel like that's kind of an interesting thing, and Absolute Catwoman is scheduled to debut June 16th. However, it's not the first time that, like, she's been, I think in the animated series that they tried to, damn, that's crazy. Maybe kind of, sort of, but I think this is definitely an interesting way of doing things. And I think, Brazilian Catwoman, you didn't even have to do anything else. Just boom, Brazilian Catwoman. Yep, that'll do it. But I like how they're turning things on their head. I think that's an interesting dynamic. I'm considering reading them, but it's just like, I don't know, like I'm just so okay. I will say, ignoring the helmet, it's fine. I don't mind. I like the rest of it, the tail, the the onesie, all that shit, that's fine. The helmet just looks stupid. The rest of it, fine. It looks good. It's just that the helmet looks fucking stupid. Like the rest of it, totally fine. The helmet, very dumb. I will give you that. But yeah, I think that's the helmet does look stupid. I will say that. The helmet is very, very stupid, but they're trying to make things look different, so they're just, it's whatever. It's fine. We'll make do. But that's not the only thing that we have for you today. But in regards to other Absolute news, Scott Snyder confirmed at MegaCon 2026 that Absolute Clayface is on the way, with more details set to be revealed in Absolute Batman number 23. So that's awesome, especially with, ahead of the new movie that's coming out in, I almost said September, October. But yeah, it's definitely really awesome because, introducing more villains, definitely really, really cool. Yeah, like I'm curious how Clay, if he is going to be a clay monster, or they're going to harken back to the Golden Age Basil Carlo version where he wasn't a Clayface monster. So I wonder how they're going to do that. But yeah, cool. Next up, Scott Snyder says there are no plans to end the Absolute universe anytime soon until you guys stop reading them. We have no plans to end it. Kind of pouring salt in the wound a little bit of the Ultimates universe that they either are ending soon or recently ended. So just like kind of like, no, our universe that's actually selling that people like, yeah, we're not gonna end that because that would be fucking stupid, right? Eat dicks, Jonathan Hickman. So, it's just like, if what I find so funny, it's kind of like what it was back when the MCU was like, coming out, like early MCU, like phase 1, phase 2 MCU, where those movies were fucking killing and being amazing, while DC was like struggling to fucking get behind them in the moviedom. But the DC comics were really good. And then the Marvel comics were not they weren't terrible, but they just weren't as good as DC comics at the time. Meanwhile, now history repeats itself. The MCU is killing it now. The DCU is kind of on a rocky surface, not like bad, like, Zack Snyder directed stuff, but they're kind of rockier, especially with the slate for 2026. All the comics are killing it for DC, and then the Marvel comics are fucking sucking right now. They're planning to end the Ultimate line, or have ended it already. Nobody is even talking about like the main line stuff. But I mean, and the thing is in addition to that, they have the compact editions that DC is doing. DC, I would say on the comic side, DC's killing it. Marvel is just fucking sucking. Like Marvel, like I don't even know, like at least with like the absolute line, I'm like aware of it, like aware of what's going on. I'm aware of like DCKO and like the crossover comics and all this other shit. No, I don't even fucking know what Marvel's doing. What is Marvel doing? Nobody knows, because I even as someone who's like absorbing comic book information all the fucking time, no clue what Marvel's doing right now. What is Marvel doing? The Ultimate line, the thing that's ending? Okay, sure. But yeah. So I just think that yeah, and meanwhile the movie side, movie TV side, I think Marvel is killing it again because you have Wonderman was a great show that a lot of people liked. That's getting renewed. Then you have like all the Spider-Man stuff that's coming out this year, killing it. Doomsday is probably going to be huge. So and then you have a couple other TV shows coming out that a lot of people are like. So it's like this is like actually like Marvel seems to be coming back. We're not gonna say anything quite yet. But yes, rest in peace, Sam Keith. We did just learn that a couple days ago. But yeah, it's but yes, Sam Keith did pass away of the Max and all that. Yes, I do have the Max on VHS. My friend gave it to me. So but yeah. But Absolute has been killing it. Also, I left up the quick hit sign. But anyway, I meant that. Well, I mean, it was kind of sort of the quick hit, so it's fine. It's fine. But the next thing we have is Supergirl stuff, which is mainly talking about the budget. So we will obviously be talking about that. So of course, the rumor in this case is that Supergirl reportedly has, I gotta move my camera out of the way because I gotta read it. Reportedly has a smaller budget, potentially around 100 million. No official figures have been confirmed yet, so calm down. This isn't for sure, but it makes sense to me because Superman, that's a bigger character, a lot more behind it. But Supergirl is a much smaller character, not as popular, so of course that's probably going to be about $100 million. That makes sense to me. So I don't know if it's going to be. I would range. It's probably going to be in the triple digits, or well, in this case, 9 digits. But that seems to make a lot of sense to me, because yeah, I mean, like again, smaller character, not doing a lot. Yeah, makes perfect sense. I don't know if you guys have any like thoughts on this, but well, yeah, 100 million is still a lot. It's still a big budget production, but it's, compared to what Superman was, which was 225 million, more than like double that. Of course they're not yeah, exactly. 200 million. I'm sure, I mean, Clayface was in the range of like 60 million, so they're not going to spend a lot there. And Lanterns, I don't know how much that, especially if they're not doing a lot of powers stuff like cosmic shit, and that's probably going to be pennies by comparison. So, okay. Doesn't mean that Star Wars, Star Wars, Jesus Christ, I don't know where that came from. That doesn't mean DC is not successful. I mean, I understand diversity, representation, obviously that's very important, but like DC is still successful, at least give her 330 million and you all want color. Yeah, hire a colorist, DC, Jesus Christ. Probably not a lot because she's the headliner, he's not, so we'll see. But but yeah, but in terms of not just budget stuff, but we have interest. DC Supergirl currently stands at the number 8 spot in the list of audience interest for movies of 2026. To keep that in mind, Project Hail Mary, this was like at the beginning of the year, Project Hail Mary was at number 9. And that made $141 million this past weekend. So this doesn't mean anything for the time being. So, the number 1 is Spider-Man Brand New Day, then Toy Story 5, of course, Avengers Doomsday, of course, Super Mario, duh, Michael, duh. Minions and Monsters, that's interesting, as well as Scary Movie 6. Those are I'm like a little bit iffy about, but like, come on, how is Supergirl not? But number 8, that's still pretty good. Still in the top 10. I mean, just because it has a smaller budget doesn't make it a bad film, you know. Yeah, of course. But sorry. But if they give us a great film for 100 million, I don't think it would be that impressive. I mean, like fucking Undertone, the second best movie I've seen all year was $500,000. Sometimes if you just have a great script and you execute it properly, that's all you need. Yeah, same here. I'm still skeptical, but we'll see. But yeah, in terms of interest, it's in a weird place, but again, Project Hail Mary just came out. It fucking hit, and it's still less than Supergirl. So that's saying something. Yeah. So, it's still young. We still have another like 3-ish months until this comes out. So, 3 months and 2 days. So we'll see how Supergirl goes. And, I have a lot of, I have a lot of hope for her, because I mean that's what we gotta have. Hope. Truth, justice, hope. Truth, justice, whatever. But yeah. That is it, guys. Dan had to go lie down. His head's not doing great. So I'm just gonna finish up the show for you guys today. But guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and click the notification bell so you know when we go live. Thank you all for watching, and remember, I'm a punk rocker. Yes, I am. Truth, justice, whatever. Look out. Tip your waitress.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
And remember, fuck Jeff Snyder, fuck Tom King.